Who just got money in the bank? This motherfucker. Can't spend it. Can't do nothing with it. But it's there. Well, it's been an unusually eventful evening. Can't stop, won't stop. So I just got off a call with my friend Tobin. Tobin and I are going to reschedule for a live. We had to have a backstage session, talk some shit out. And this is me killing time again. Where did I leave off here? That's got to be it. Function. Yeah, that's it right there. Holy smokes. It has been a crazy, crazy week. TGIF. Get a few things accomplished today. And I will be, well, I guess I'll just announce that later. But I think William Freeman and I will be doing a little bit of a different type of stream next week. If everything goes as planned, that's the plan for now. So look forward to that. It's going to be some more music content. Music and the like. Not too much away. So I am number 201 in line for my Wi-Fi hotspot. Be waiting on that for a little bit here. But I did find out that we have conference rooms. I can go down and use one of those. What's up, Halsey? Good to see you. So I'll probably try and do that Saturday or Monday. Utilize one of those conference rooms so I can pump out another one of these shows. God damn, the wind is fucking crazy out here right now. We're going to have a tornado or something. So we don't have tornadoes in California. That's a lie. I guess this close to the coast would be a typhoon, or is that a typhoon? I don't know. I can't look it up right now. Having high anxiety tonight. High anxiety tonight, and more drinks. thought that was all of them. Talking helps. Sometimes it's helpful just not to be stuck in your own head, but that's how we spend most of our days. But that's kind of the topic of the conversation that Tobin and I were having too, was like this whole idea of manifesting outcomes in reality. I was thinking about this a little bit. Like, do our perceptions of things, of people, of interactions, actually produce outcomes in those? Like, say for instance, you have a relationship with a person, right? And you have a negative outlook, right? You think that person's, whether they're going to leave you or they're going to cheat on you, something like that. And then, so by virtue of your perception of a thing, or your negative outlook on a thing, right? Can you manifest that outcome? Would you make that thing happen in reality through the process of thought, right? I don't think things actually work that way, right? But I do think there's something to it, to the power of suggestion, the power of perception. Like, I can create a negative outcome by having a negative outlook, and then, whether consciously or subconsciously, acting correspondingly to that negative outlook on the thing, right? And like, this is like manifest in like fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, right? Like, and it's pretty typical, like psychology, like say that people who fear rejection and abandonment often will tend to end up pushing those people away, the very people that they're afraid of rejecting or abandoning them, right? Trucks. And you do that in like one of two ways. Like, you will do that either by trying to become overly attached to a person, right? Clinging. Or you'll do that by preemptively rejecting them so they don't have the opportunity to reject you, right? And so in either of those circumstances, you are creating the outcome that you fear, but you're not like directly manifesting, right? Like, it's not because of your fear, it's because of your reaction to your fear. Your perception changes the way that you interact with that person, or that you present in that relationship. Just your phone voice memo recorder? Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm reading comments now. I don't know if I would want to. Well, I do kind of listen to myself talk sometimes, but mostly just read through the journals. Right. And it does influence outcomes, but it doesn't directly cause them, right? So it's not your perception of the thing, your perception of the possibility, right? Your fear of abandonment didn't cause your abandonment. It was your reaction to that fear and the way that changed your interaction with the person. Thoughts about something. Ask them what I thoughts you have about them. That makes sense. And take, for instance, like a person who you're romantically attracted to, right? Prior to them knowing about your attraction, right? You have kind of this neutral position. You know that you have an attraction. You don't know whether or not that other person shares that attraction, right? Once you express it outwardly, just kind of one of two options. That person could reciprocate the feeling of romantic attraction, or they will reject you, right? And then typically at that stage, you reach. So now you're in a point where, say, you've been rejected, right? The adverse outcome. You have two ways you can proceed, right? Like if there's still a comfort level where you can still maintain a friendship with that person with boundaries, acknowledge that you're attracted and have been rejected, right? But probably subconsciously, your behavior around that person will change, right? Not everybody, but this could be a lot of people. And so, and not because of your acknowledgement of attraction, right? It's because of your perception about rejection that your behavior, your attitude towards that person will change, the relationship will shift, right? And it may be the case that once you let that cat out of the bag, it becomes supremely uncomfortable for you to maintain that same platonic friendship that you had before. Because your feelings, your advancements were rebuffed, right? So now you feel a sense of hurt. If the other person has not harmed you, right? It's your perception of the situation. You could have a number of perceptions about the situation. You could that person, they don't know what they're missing out on. On the other hand, you could think, oh man, what is it that I don't have? What am I lacking? Right? You can internalize it or you can externalize it. But you've lost your neutral perception. And once you lose that neutral perception, whether it be a positive outlook or a negative outlook, can affect the trajectory of that entire relationship, right? Because your behavior will change accordingly, whether you mean for it to or not, right? So I don't think we can manifest outcomes in reality. We influence the behavior of others generally through our own behaviors, not through things we say, but by the things we do, by the way that we act. We can say something that seems to us benign, right? Like I'm just talking. I'm just um, another person could see it as you being aggressive, you being um, I don't want to say assertive because assertive would be like a positive into that. But we'll just stick with like aggressive. Like they believe you have an aggressive tone, even if the thing you're saying itself is not an act of aggression, right? You may have no control over that tone of voice. You may not even realize you're using it. And it's not what you said; it was how you said it. didn't happen. We'll look up anxious, insecure attachment style. That's one of my many projects. It's just a couple of books I was recommended about attachment styles, um, identifying and changing your attachment styles, I guess. Among the many things I have to read. Just keep reading. Fine. Speaking of reading, I got this book at the library today. You can see that. Everyday Trauma. Remapping the brain's response to stress, anxiety, and painful memories for a better life. Tracy Shores, PhD. Found that one. Looked good in the nonfiction section. And yeah, it's okay. Book I'll actually be able to finish before I have to go turn it in. Hopefully, right? Stick to it, right? I figured that would be something good to look into. I've been looking at a lot into this, like complex PTSD, and I was listening to somebody else talking about it before. They were like, "Well, yeah, I feel like, break it down. Like most people will have PTSD. Like you go in psychology, it's like most people have some level of CPTSD, right? Like to varying like levels of how it affects their everyday life, right? Like if you go in and you got for diagnosis, like more people than not would come out with some form of that diagnosis, right? But not everybody reacts to it the same way, right? And I think there's something to saying that like in some ways like suppression of it. I don't want to say suppression of it. Not acknowledging the formal diagnosis, right? Kind of keeps one. I mean, unless you're having like really, really severe outward symptoms, right, where it's like really affecting your well-being, most people are just gonna like roll with it, right? They're just gonna be like, I was depressed that day, right? Like it's not until a doctor tells you that you suffer from major depression that you start again, like your perception becomes skewed, right? Oh, I have this disorder, I have this disease, and now I'm going to manifest the symptoms of this disease more because I have been diagnosed. Yeah, don't know what the fuck that was all about. Have you tried turning the internet off and turning it back on again? Because that's what I just had to do.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not sure. I think you could probably hear me, but I cannot hear you. I'm wondering if you're having some kind of like connectivity issues, and that's why I can't hear you. It doesn't look like you're talking. Your little bubble is not moving, so I'll just wait. Practice. Maybe I'll make it so that it could be heard. Let me see.
Can you hear me now? No.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, I heard you. You just couldn't hear me for some reason. That was weird.
Okay, that was odd. Yeah. Okay. I was just trying to mess around with my sound settings here to see if I could. Because I wasn't sure how long you'd be gone. I was going to see if I could pipe my guitar through while I practice while you're gone, but you came back. Are you able to do this at work, or are you off work right now?
No, yeah, I'm at work now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's been much busier than I anticipated out here. Like usually around this time it's pretty good, but they're hopping tonight. So, gosh.
Oh, wow. What kind of environment is it that you're having to deal with?
I'm just like right just north of the Golden Gate Bridge. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty chill out here for the most part. I just have like I'm sitting in a tough shed. With a nice view of the bay. Um, but yeah, I just sit here all night and trucks come in and out. That's about it.
Is that kind of like
So,
serving as a guard shack kind of thing? Tough shed.
doing what?
Is it serving as like a guard shack? The tough shed?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice. Yeah, let me, is that better? I'm adjusting my volume here. Is that better?
Okay.
No, sometimes this mic is kind of low, so I was just adjusting it. So yeah, I was actually messing around with that track that you sent. That was just like that one solo that I said sounded kind of like a machine over StreamYard. Yeah, what it turns out is that StreamYard was distorting it so badly that it sounded completely different, like through the stream, than it did like through the regular recording. But that was okay. I still found a part that sounded kind of like the machine, and I don't know where the sound is coming from. It's like right at the beginning of the recording and right at the end too. There's like this sound that it's like I can't describe it any other way, but it sounds like a machine, like running, like maybe in the next room over or something like that. Do you know what that sound was?
I'm not certain. It could be. It could be from my fan actually.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, it sounded like there was a small generator or like a motorcycle just idling, like in the next room over. It's kind of a neat sound, you know. I actually made a loop out of it to see how it sounded like kind of like a background sort of percussive fill, you know.
Yeah.
It was a little too like I couldn't like adjust it so that it sounded like something that your ears would tolerate through a whole, you know, track, but it sounds cool, like maybe in bits, you know. It'd be funny if it was just happenstance because it was your fan being on, but I've had stuff like that happen too. Like a space heater or a fan on, and it was like it caused the most noise because it has like electrical noise on the line as well as noise in the room, you know.
Right. And I'm so used to it because I have like the fan running all the time. Like,
yeah,
if I'm at home, like it's on pretty much all the time, so that I don't even notice it. I'm just so used to having that background noise, you know.
Yeah, me too. Like I'm not good with total silence. Like I have to have something going, you know.
I was doing a lot better with recently, but yeah, recently I've had to fall asleep either listening to a podcast or leave a show running with like low volume or something, because I've just not been able to tolerate silence lately, especially when I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons is like, you know, we were talking a little bit about anxiety and stuff in the chat, and you know, if I have silence, what happens is my mind starts filling it up, you know, with stuff that I don't want to get sort of sucked into thinking about, and it's stuff that, you know, like you were talking about before, like kind of stuff that feels maybe you weren't describing it this way, but for me, like if someone that I, you know, am attached to or have feelings for or whatever is having like a bad day, or I think they're mad at me or whatever, like my life like grinds to a halt and I am totally unfocused. I could barely get anything done. Like I have like serious anxiety over it until that is resolved. However, you know, either I find out that they're not really mad or they're going through something that has nothing to do with me or whatever, you know, like whatever the case is, and I could like I breathe a sigh of relief and like can go on with my life. But like, yeah, it really affects me like negatively for sure.
Yeah. And like in the situation I'm in now where I just haven't like had contact with the person for like almost a month, like I will catch myself like in my head, I will start, and I'm not trying to do like I'm trying to think of anything else, right? But what I start doing is I start imagining like different, you know, scenarios this person might be in, and then you know what I mean? Like
Do they
bizarre.
involve scenarios where they're like you're out of the picture or something like that, or they're squeezing you out of the picture, or there's some like other abandonment theme or something like that going on? Because there's a little bit of that in the chat too, and that the reason why, and I explained it a little bit. I mean, it's like if you imagine like a lot of situations, right, that you just fear are happening or whatever, regardless of whether or not they're happening, like you have the emotional reaction, even if it's just an internal one briefly, like it's there, right? And so I think that it's hard to just completely dispose of those reactions. You know what I mean? Because like they happen. And so like when you hear something or see something that might sort of confirm this fear or seems to confirm it, that reaction is there. It's ready, It's not new anymore. It's like it's been established that that's what's going to happen, like within you. And so like I think that's why like these things kind of seem to manifest. They become like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. You know what I mean? Self-sabotage, but sort of unknowingly. I don't know. I've been through that a lot. I've experienced that for sure.
So do you have any like tricks that you use, like any specific like
okay, so yes, I do have one. So I used to have to set a timer. Like let's say that I send a message to someone. This is not the case anymore, but I used to have to do this. If they didn't respond within a certain amount of time, I would start to stress out. But so what I said to myself is, like, other people have lives. It's not always about me. I can deal with some pause in between responses. I'm not like I can, I have to tell myself this, right? Like it's not like the truth, really. I have to like tell it to myself. And so I set a timer for like 3 hours, right? And it like gives me permission to like let it off my mind for 3 hours a little bit. So I set a timer for 3 hours, and I don't check my phone constantly. I just leave it and check it for other reasons maybe, but not that reason, And if they respond within 3 hours, great. If they don't, then I might say something like, I don't know, like it's my paranoid nature to always say something like, oh, hope all is well, or something like that, because of course, I think that if there's something wrong at all, I want hope all is well to apply. And if it's something that wrong that involves me, I also want that to apply. And if it doesn't apply, I want to know about it. So it's kind of like opening the door to, if something isn't all well, you can tell me, but I hope it is. You know what I mean? So that's like kind of the trick I play on myself. And if there's no response after that, then I just kind of like try to let it go for the moment, but I don't know. Like I'm really bad. Like I've had to deal with a lot of that kind of insecure, like abandonment themes, and those feelings, and so yeah, I'm still coping. I did therapy for like 5 months on one run and a year on another run, and it was very difficult to feel like I was making progress with the therapist. I felt like all the progress that I made was like because of stuff I did on my own. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw a therapist for 8 months last year, and this stuff like really didn't come up that much. And granted, like he was focused a lot more on like my drinking and other activities and stuff like that. But like this probably should have been like a topic of focus, right? Because even during that time, I mean, I just got ghosted by another person. Within like a little over a year ago, and I was still, even to this day, like I think I texted them a week or two ago. Right? Mm-hmm. This person hasn't replied to me in over a year.
Wow. And you're still kind of hoping that they will. Yeah, I totally.
I don't know how to deal with that. Like, especially this ghosting shit. Like, I want some kind of closure. Like, say never fucking talk to me again, and I'll never fucking talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah.
just disappear. Like, makes no sense to me.
Yeah, right. Like, tell me if I was an asshole. Tell me if I had defects. Tell me if you just don't like me anymore for whatever reason. Keep the reason to yourself, but that lets me sever the connection. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even like to the point where, well, I don't know, like different people have different, but I can't even like, I don't even think I'm blocked. You know what I mean? Like that's even worse. You're getting the message, you're just ignoring it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Like I remember telling someone once, I'm like, can't you just be like a total asshole to me for a little while? Like, can you just be mean to me for a little bit and I'll go away? Like, if that's what if like you don't want me around, like just, you know.
But it kind of it ticks me off because people are like I want to focus on that, right? And it's like so much more difficult when like I've got like most of the people like involved around me in recovery and stuff are like, so well, focus on yourself, and I'm like, okay, we can do that, but that's what I do all the time anyway, right? Like I'm trying to figure out how to like fix these freaking wacky interactions that I have with people, and like granted, like you know, not it's like you're just gonna have some you know whatever relationships that just don't pan out, right? Like that's fine. I get it, but it seems to be like a more and more frequent occurrence, which to me seems like opposite. It's like if I'm behaving healthier, then I shouldn't have as many of these like negative interactions going on, right? Or do I assume that the people that I'm hanging out with actually are the ones that are really unhealthy, right? And they don't want to be around my healthfulness.
I mean, that's possible. It's possible, but also are these people that, I mean, for lack of like a better way to like put it, are these people that know you and are sort of used to whatever patterns you've established with them? Are they expecting those patterns to continue and just not seeing that they're not actually continuing? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes people don't see what you're showing them because they're just so used to seeing something else that they're kind of blind to it, you know?
Right. And that's why like I try to tell people specifically now, like I know that I do this, you know, whatever it is, clinginess and stuff like that. And I'm trying to work on that. So will you communicate that with me? You know what I mean? I want to know when you feel like I'm crossing this boundary, because obviously I don't have a good feel for myself or like what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. I've actually had to say to people, look, I'm not sure if the reality that I see is the same one that you see. I need to compare notes here. You know, like I might be seeing a distorted sense of reality because of just, you know, my emotional response. The paranoid thoughts that are going on in my head sometimes, you know, like they cloud my thoughts. They definitely do. Maybe I'm seeing what's real and everyone's lying to me, or, you know, I'm seeing something that's distorted and I can't tell what's, you know, 100% the truth. I have to have somebody else kind of put the lens in front of me and say, look now, you know. And that's all because of the stuff we were talking about earlier, you know, with like CPTSD and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, the more I look into it, I see, and maybe it's like one of those things like you could kind of like broad brush like diagnose everybody with a mental health condition, right? But I see so many signs of it in different people now. I'm like, oh, that's like CPTSD. But it also like it does encompass, I think, like to a certain extent, like aspects of all like like mental illness symptoms, right? Because you can have that severe depression, you can have like all of those things kind of rolled into one.
Disassociation, you know, like that's been a big one in my life, where, you know, you just like kind of feel like out of touch with what's all around you, your own body. You feel like you're a couple of degrees removed from it all, you know, and just kind of like spaced out a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just like a removal from one's own, the environment, mentally just removing oneself. And I've definitely spent a lot of time doing that for various reasons in my life, from like childhood on, though.
Were you a runaway?
No, I lived with my mom, who was probably not the best person to be a parent, and she had some undiagnosed issues going on. She had some child abuse issues in her past that were never addressed, and my sister my sister suspected that she had like borderline personality disorder, which I had just. What's funny is that like I called my sister all worried and like, God, 15 years ago, like telling her that I had just discovered this whole, this topic of this particular disorder, and how like I seem to have a lot of symptoms, right? Like lacking maybe two. And she asked me a bunch of questions. And then she said, it's really interesting because that's what I've always thought mom had. And I was just like, oh, okay, great. Like, and I like see, there's a genetic component to all that as well, but there's also like a definite association with like childhood trauma experiences too. So anyway, I found out about that, was kind of nervous about that, but didn't think about it for a while. Then, years later, just discovered the whole topic all over again through a whole different channel. And I wasn't necessarily focused on that for myself, but just seeing her through that lens, everything made sense about her behavior and her decision making and everything, and so she was very neglectful and abusive. She was very self-destructive. She was like a heavy chain smoker who was constantly sick, constantly in the hospital. She spent like 3 or 4 months out of the hospital, and then she'd go in the hospital, be in there for like 3 weeks, or like 5 weeks. She'd be like on a ventilator. They'd tell us in the hallway, you have to get your mom to stop smoking because she's gonna die. We're like children, and they're telling me and my sister. My sister left when I was like 9. But, after that, like this was a continual cycle until my mom died, essentially. But, she wouldn't stop, and I couldn't stop her. And that was the first, the biggest thing in her life that like ruled her life was like the physical sickness of herself. And then she projected that sickness onto me as like her sole sort of companion in life. Like, she depended a lot on me, way too much actually. And so that was like a problem. There's this thing called enmeshment, which I just recently found out about as well, which is when parents are like just way too like involved and like micromanaging and like hovering and overprotective about their children. Anyway, so but she was really neglectful, and the house was always falling apart. Our utilities were always being turned off. She didn't have any money for bills, and she was always losing her jobs, and so it was just a very unstable environment. And my dad kind of married into a whole other situation and kind of just left me behind. My sister went with him, and I got kind of left behind in the muck of my mom's reality, and so I grew up in that, and then left home kind of early because I was looking for something that definitely wasn't going to be found at home. So so that was my life. And then I just had like a string of boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend after boyfriend until I got married. And then that's been my whole life, just kind of like staying sort of safe inside relationships and not being very social, and being really isolated and stuff. So anyway, yeah.
It seems like a pretty common theme for people who have, like, especially issues with their parents, like especially specifically like when it's a broken home, parents separate or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the cycle of relationship hopping and like jumping into relationships too quickly. And that like seems to like come right along with that. Like I did that too, like I ran away when I was younger, but when I like really left the house when I was 17, just to move in with my daughter's mom, and I was like, I was just ready to go. I would pretty much moved anywhere with her. We just happened to end up where we did, right? But it was just like I didn't actually care where we were going. I was just going to go anywhere with this person who I barely knew.
Wow.
Just
Yeah,
because it was.
that sounds familiar. I mean, like I when I had relationships, like, I mean, the second relationship I ever had, I moved in with the person within a month. And the first time I saw him, like the first date I had with him, like within 1 week, we were seeing each other every night. And like, so that's like the pace that I used to go at. I practically breakneck speed, to get into like some kind of serious committed situation where I felt secure again, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And like I spent like, it's weird. Like when I tell people about my like childhood and teen years now, it's like I'm describing like something that couldn't. I mean, I guess maybe for some people it could be real, but it seems like a lot. Like just a lot of stuff. Like I remember, the first time I got drunk was like I was 12, and some people from school came to my house with a bottle of Everclear. And we mixed it with strawberry soda, and all of us like puked in my bathtub, and But from that point forward, I knew what it felt like to be drunk, and I knew how inebriation like felt, and I craved that feeling of detachment. And I mean, I was drinking by myself at like age 13 and 14, alone at home. That's not normal. And I would just I would say to myself, I would like pour like an inch and a half of vodka into a glass and know, like, if I drink all of this, I know exactly how I'll feel. And I would down it, go watch TV, And I craved that feeling all through my teen years. I just made friends with people that wanted to party and do drugs and stuff. And that was how I spent like 5 or 6 years solid of my life. Just doing that, going out like 3 or 4 times a week and having parties, going to parties, drinking a lot, staying up all night. Everyone was like 5 to 10 years older than me. I had a fake ID. It was almost all my friends were gay at that point, so there was no like promiscuity on my part. It was an environment that didn't really. It was completely different. It was all party all the time, like all drugs and drinking. That was the focus. For me anyway, and for a lot of the people that were there. So, yeah. So, anyway. And I was kind of deathly afraid of like pregnancy and STDs and all that stuff. So I was kind of like, it was kind of a non-issue for me at the time. But yeah, that's how I spent my teenage years, not doing high school stuff, not with friends of my own age, not having like the typical teenage experience,
Yeah, I can relate. I can definitely relate to that. And I think part of that like feels like it's in a way because of the trauma, you feel more emotionally mature than you are because you've dealt with those situations.
Yep.
Right? Like, so yeah, I would find myself gravitating more towards adults, like even in high school, just because I didn't feel like most of the other kids in school could understand my issues or my perspective, right? Because they weren't in that situation.
Right. Yeah, that was another thing. Like in grade school, I found out that if I said that I didn't feel good, my mom would let me stay home. So, I I would say I didn't feel good like 2 or 3 days a week. And I'd stay home 2 or 3 days a week. And like that was starting from maybe 3rd or 4th grade on. And every time I would go back to school, they'd be like, "You're very behind, this, that, or the other." And I would try my best to catch up, but it would be very difficult because I wouldn't be there for any of the explanation of anything, And fell way behind on math. I remember when I would go to school, I would just be so lost that I would just sit in the back and like draw pictures or like make random notes in my notebook. And that was it. Like, because I wasn't I wasn't engaged at all with school. The only time I was engaged was when I went into high school and I liked my English class and I liked my art class. Those are the only two classes I even remember taking. And then I basically dropped out and went into independent study. Did that for a year and a half, and then tested out of high school. There's this thing called the California Proficiency Exam, which is kind of like a GED, but rolled into a test that says if you pass this test, you would have graduated with the top 10% of your class, right? So I took it,
Right.
passed it on the first try. I was in the room with people that had talked about, this is their fourth or fifth time taking it, and I was really, oh shit, like this is going to be really hard. Somehow, maybe from like watching lots of educational TV or being exposed to the information or whatever, I was able to pass it. Got my thing, and then I had been working too for like age 14. I forged a work permit and got a job at that age, and was working at a telemarketing place where the people there, they were drunk half the time. There was no pot. It was crazy. And I was in that environment, but I had my own money and I was able to make my own money. And my mom, all she hung out with were like drug dealers and stuff. So, she always had pot. She was on coke half the time or other kind of like uppers. She had like a little, stash of like Dexedrine or whatever, some kind of prescription speed. And so there's that whole angle, and then when my friends would come around, like the few friends that I managed to make, she would be like Miss Charm, right? She would turn on the charm, she would get them all high, and everybody loved my mom, right? But when they would leave, like it was almost like the dark cloud would like come back over the house. She would just be a completely different person. When I was a little kid, I like wanted people to like take me with them when they left.
Right. Tom says got kicked out. What got you kicked out, Tom?
Yeah, what age were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, people say, "Oh, they're an old soul." It's like, no, you shouldn't have 1,000-yard stare at age 10. You shouldn't,
Yeah. And as you said, trauma makes you grow up too fast. Yeah. And I think, the whole growing up fast thing is like something you said for like, yeah, I mean, you appear more mature, but in a lot of ways you miss certain stages of development, right? And then you end up resenting that. Like you lose those parts of your childhood, and you can't get back, and then
and sometimes those traumatic events put like emotional markers in you that when something comes up that like echoes of that event somehow, it brings you back to that emotional response age almost.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like they can be for like a frozen in time sort of reaction.
Yeah, it is. It's like you jump back in time to that stage you were at. And so like even though you may be like intellectually mature, you're not emotionally mature.
Right.
You're 18 to move out of an abusive home.
I'm glad you were able to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, damn.
I found all her vodka bottles and potato chips under her bed when she moved out. Nice. 17, I was driving my mom home from work. I had the radio on too loud, so she smacked me across my face while I was driving.
Damn.
Spat at her feet. Jeez. Yeah. Not me and my mom had that. My mom smacked me in the face once, but I was really little. Well, not like really little, but I was like second grade, I guess.
Oh, wow.
I called her a bitch to her face, so.
Yeah, I had this memory like, I don't know, about a year ago, I guess, which was really weird because I think the memory that I had a year ago was the first time I had actually remembered it since it happened. And it happened more than once. It was a thing that my mom used to do. And I had to like confirm it with my sister. I messaged her at like 3 a.m. like, hey, do you remember like this happening? And she was like, yes, with like several exclamation points. But like, I remember it's like a couple times, maybe, I don't know, 3 or 4 times this happened where like I was like a little kid, like 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe. And I remember being in a situation where, like, in a restaurant or something like that, like my mom's talking to someone, my sister is there, I'm there, and it's like I don't know what's happening, but I was not a badly behaved child. I was not loud, I wasn't rambunctious, I was pretty quiet, I was kind of shy. Anyway, so she would like stop her conversation for a second, just for a second, and like reach over and like grab like the upper inner part, like the back of my arm, and like pinch as hard as she could until it was like unbearably painful, right? And I would like start to cry, and then she'd like let go and just like continue on with her conversation.
God, that just sounds like cruel. Like,
I was like, what the fuck is this memory all about? And I asked my sister, that's what I said, like, do you remember this happening? And she was like, yes. And like I was just like, well, like what adult would like just do that? And I'm sure that maybe I was fidgeting or being like whatever 3 or 4 year olds like, out in public if they're bored or tired or whatever. But I never remember her being like loving. Like I don't have a single memory of my dad holding me because I was upset. Ever. Like not one. My dad was like out of the picture by the time I was like 1. So I guess that's probably why. But even like, later in life, like we've just never had like any kind of close relationship. I always felt extra like on the side, and that was like part of his like old life that he kind of wanted to forget.
yeah.
So, he's still alive
Did
now.
your
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask how old were you when your parents separated?
Like it was probably around 1 or 2, I guess 1 or 2.
Okay.
I know that my mom drove cross country with me. I don't know how she did it as far as the funds that were needed, where we stayed along the way. No idea. I asked my dad. He said he has no memory of any part of that. I know that there was a place waiting for us that they had purchased like previously. And I don't know how that all came about either, but I know we got there, and I don't really remember a whole lot of my life before like age 12. Like I have really huge gaps in my memory. That was part of like what I like just the assessment of, if whether or not I was dealing with CPTSD, because I actually had diagnosis of PTSD in my late 20s. But I was like, this therapist, maybe she's reaching a little bit. Like, I don't really see how I could have this. Like I was thinking about all the ward associations that people usually made with it. Like soldiers get it, and people that go through serious like accidents, like a plane crash or something like that. But so I was like, I don't know if what I went through qualifies for something like that. But this was before complex PTSD was part of anyone's conversation. Like that, it was not really in like the typical thing to talk about at that time. So like I only discovered that like in 2018, I think. That was the first time I had heard of that. And yeah, it was like reading like a checklist of my entire life, like just how my adult life has been. And yeah. And then I also found out that like people with CPTSD have problems making memories because they lack the chemical that helps make memories permanent in your like your actual like memory system of your brain storage and everything. So that's an issue. And then also I have narcolepsy, and I found out that people with narcolepsy also have problems making memories. So that kind of has, that explains some things.
Yeah. So that's a separate, like neurologically, Yeah, it makes sense. Like, yeah, I don't know. And I always think of that, like, because I got diagnosed as a kid with, like ADHD and then other stuff. And I'm like, how
Mhm.
much of that was just reacting to the home environment, rather than
Yeah,
something that was actually, like
yeah, totally.
manifesting a mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, there's this really good therapist on YouTube called Patrick Teahan. He actually had a video talking about ADHD and how it relates to trauma and how there's overlapping symptoms with CPTSD. Um, so I don't know. I think he talks about the differences a little bit, but his channel is really good. It's full of stuff about childhood trauma specifically. So I visit his channel. I don't know, probably once a week, but yeah, he's got some great videos. I'll put a link in our private chat here so you can check it out. Maybe I'll look up that one video about ADHD comparing. Yeah, but like I've spent since that time, since like 2018, kind of trying to pick apart all this, study it, understand it, and get past it, and it has been something that I'm like so ready to like move forward. But what's funny about that is that like just knowing about it and wanting to solve the problem isn't always enough, because it takes accessing certain parts of your thinking and certain places where sort of the patterns are established, and changing those patterns and having access to all that. And it seems kind of like shooting at the side of a barn with a shotgun. You know what I mean? Like you hope to get it, you hope to like get the right thing done that you're doing from sort of the outside, that you never really know until later on when you're seeing your reactions to life and saying, "Oh, I guess I'm reacting differently than I used to."
Yeah, that's been the hard part. Like, the very gradual progress that's been
Yeah.
made, which is like, and that was one of the things that kept coming up for me when I was in rehab. Was like, I kept saying, okay, I've got past this part. I've been sober X amount of time. Now I want to deal with this thing, um, and those were the underlying causes, right? And it was like, um, I was like essentially repeatedly told that you just have to keep going out and practicing. So it's just like a trial and error thing. Like there's no amount of therapy that's actually going to change your responses. You're just going to analyze what you did and then try to do something differently next time. But the only way you can do that is in action. Like,
Yeah. One thing that I've seen is kind of interesting that runs through a lot of different therapies for the same sorts of issues is practicing mindfulness. And it's something that, for someone that has a constant stream of thought and images and worries, things like that kind of running through your mind, it is kind of difficult to stop that stream in order to experience like seconds, moments, and to not just kind of space out in thoughts or distractions. Like it definitely does take effort to do that. But I have seen that as like a theme that runs through like anxiety treatment for PTSD, treatment for depression, treatment for this, treatment for that. It's like that runs through all of it. So that is one thing that like I haven't really tried yet. And some people say like they just do it for like an hour a day to start, right? Like they just say, okay, from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm going to try to practice like mindfulness, and that's basically just like bringing yourself back into the present over and over and over again. If you find yourself like lost in thoughts of the past or the future, or worries or whatever, just experiencing like whatever you're experiencing, whether it's whatever you're watching a movie, you're studying something, you're reading, you're playing your guitar, but you're doing only that. you know.
Yeah.
It's hard for someone
I was
with time of distractions. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was trying to do something like that in like silent meditation. I was pretty successful for a couple of weeks, I guess, but I would do it first thing in the morning, and I did find that it generally improved my day overall. Like if I get up first thing in the morning, my first instinct is to start looking for tasks, right? Like I get up out of bed, got get dressed, got figure out what I'm doing today, et cetera, and start moving, right? Like, and so what I did, like as a conscious uh, exercise, was to, instead of all of that, before I would do anything, I would get up out of bed in the morning, drink a little bit of water, and then go sit and do a silent meditation and try to practice in that. And so like I found like it was like the first 3 days I'd gone from, and I wasn't timing it. So I was just like, I'm gonna sit here for however long until I feel uncomfortable, and then I'm gonna try to make myself sit a little bit longer. Right. So the first day was like 5 minutes, and then the second day it was like 7 minutes, and then the third day it ended up being like 15 minutes. You know what I mean? But I wasn't like timing it. I just wanted to see how long I could sit with the discomfort and keep coming back. So yeah, but then I got out of practice with it.
Did you notice a change in like the rest of your day on those days, or like the days that followed?
I did, yeah. I mean, I noticed that I was like all of those things that would come up during my meditation in the morning, whatever they were, and I'm trying to again be in the present, so I'm trying to like push these thoughts out, right? But those things tended to stick with me throughout the day. So like by the end of the day, if I was like sharing in group, I would bring up that that thing that had come up in meditation in the morning, and see how it kind of stuck throughout my in my thought process throughout the day, so that I would be able to carry that thing, right? And it was like, so that's what they say in like the Buddhist practice is like setting your intentions. And I was kind of what I was doing with that. So rather than just getting up and like just start moving, it was like, where am I moving? Why am I doing that? You know what I mean? Like you start to analyze what you're thinking about doing, but relate it just to like the present experience, like and so like, I don't know, yeah, I can't explain it. Like everything like seemed to be really clear on those days. Like I had a really good sense of time, because usually I'd be very, very impatient, kind of constantly watching the clock. And I felt like I could, once I was able to do that, I was able to get a better sense of like time in the present, rather than always feeling like I'm rushing through something, or like, because it's either like time's moving extremely slowly, you just watch the seconds tick away, or all of a sudden you've lost like a 4-hour block and you have no idea where the time went, right?
Yeah. Yep. I know that one. Yeah, I've looked up and said, wait, it's 4:30 p.m. It was like 11 a.m. last time. What happened?
Yeah. The only other time that I really have that consistently is if I'm playing music. Like I somehow, when I'm playing a progression, I just know, like I've been playing for 2 minutes. I could just keep track of it just by, I'm not counting my strums, like, not consciously, but somehow in my subconscious, like there's like that metronome going or something that helps me keep time. And I just know by the, yeah.
It like lines up with the clock in you, and then the clock in you is like, oh, okay, here I am.
Right. Yeah, I was recommending that to somebody else a few minutes ago too. Is the mindfulness thing. Like, I think a lot of people see it as like a woo practice, like where it's gonna have some like you're gonna like sit there and with your hands on your knees and like reach some kind of like Zen state or something.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
Not necessarily even what it's intended for.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what it's intended for is to pull like your engagement with thoughts of your worries, really, about the future or about the past, like intrusive thoughts. Maybe get it off your mind. You know, if it's something that you're powerless to change, you know, I mean, what all we can do is change ourselves and hope to change our own futures, right? Like. So, like, if we keep, I know it sucks to think about that when it's something that we really do want to change, but like, it's also like a harsh reality that has to be accepted. So, like, sometimes like, I can latch on to that and it helps, but I don't know. I find that I think that practice is only for, well, maybe release, sort of giving your mind a break from being constantly engaged with worries or anxiety or whatever, but also like learning how to be in the present, because that's something that I actually do have to learn a little bit because I've spent so much time wrapped up in like the past or the future, just wrapped up in thoughts and, emotions and worries and stuff. So I actually have to learn how to be in the present, how to appreciate the moment. Like I have to actually tell myself like, all right, this is when you're supposed to have fun. Like, it's okay to have fun now. Like, you can have fun. It's all right.
Yeah, I actually have that written down here in my notes.
Really?
But, like, somewhere in here, it's like, you are allowed to enjoy this. You are allowed to, like, something like that. Like, on paper.
Yep. That's funny.
Yeah. And my problem with the present, I guess that goes like the whole like manifesting thing we started out with, was like my whole issue with being in the present is that I'm continually anticipating an outcome, right? I guess that's kind of like some of the guys who talk about mindfulness, public guys or whatever, that's what they're always talking about. It's always about this anticipation, right? And that's kind of where the anxiety comes from. Like, and I came to a place where I realized I don't know what outcome I'm even like looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to have a very clear vision of where I thought I would be by age 30. None of that happened, right? And so now I'm like, do I still expect to have all those same objectives, 10 years hence or something? And it's like, no, like I really have to figure out what is worth focusing my attention on, what I'm actually going to attain, right? Like, and that seems to be like the hardest thing.
I mean,
like setting a goal and working towards it like realistically.
Right. And now, do you think, because I've heard this argument before that it's because a long-term goal is, a sort of forced, delayed gratification. Like we can have instant gratification in a lot of different ways, right? But the long-term goal with something that takes incremental work is frustrating because you don't get the reward right away. But there's a key that I've heard is essential, and that is to celebrate the smallest achievements along the way as significant, because you weren't there yesterday. You know what I mean? So.
Sorry. Yeah.
I've heard that that's something to do. I haven't done it yet, but I've heard that that's something to do.
Yeah, and I totally agree, and that's kind of like what I'm trying to put into practice. It's just very difficult for me to celebrate. Like I don't see my accomplishments as accomplishments most of the time, right? Because they don't meet that high standard I put up there for myself. And what's up, William? Good to see.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm stuck somewhere in there, like in many aspects of my life, where it's like, I'm not, entirely certain when I'm supposed to be raising the bar or being more realistic. You know what I mean? It's like
just actually really grabbing onto the limits in front of you, or you know what I mean? Like I know what you mean, or like getting like within the standard that you're talking about and really achieving like the full spectrum of what's there. Yeah. You know, there's I think that it's important to deal with some things one at a time, you know? Like if you have a focus of, I don't know, improving some part of your life or some part of your skill set or something like that, I think that focusing on one thing at a time and like, you know, being able to say, to pat yourself on the back and say, you know what, like I wasn't at this spot yesterday. And from the beginning of where I was till now is definitely progress. Like I can't deny that that's progress. So I have to count it. You know, that's kind of how I've had to be with my learning on guitar. Like that is one thing about the guitar that I've discovered, that like it's like forced mindfulness, because you have to be paying attention to exactly what you're doing, and that's the only thing you're kind of doing, you know. And it's like it's also kind of meditative at the same time, I've found, which is cool, you know. But like I've been reluctant to say, oh yeah, I'm making improvements, but there's like no denying that I've made improvements. You know, like my chord changes are cleaner. I can find the strings faster and easier, and you know, like there's all kinds of little things I could talk about, but I hesitate to pat myself on the back because I'm not there yet. You know what I mean? I'm not at my bigger goal yet, so it's like it's not good enough.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, they say the same thing about meditation practice. Like, and it's the same with an instrument. There comes a point in time, it's like hard to say when exactly you cross that line, to where you will be able to play eventually, if you do it long enough, as a second nature, where you won't be thinking about it as much, and you'll just be able to act as like a muscle memory type of thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes so long, and once you cross that divide, you're just standing on the other side of it. You go, wait, how did that happen?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I'm currently kind of keeping a log of practice times and stuff like that, just to see, like, you know, that I've actually done something, you know, that I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing and not slacking off. If I do have a goal, there's no reason to slack on it. You know, like the more I do towards it, the faster it'll come. So there's no reason to slack off on it. Like there's that thing about intentions. You know, intention versus action. Do they match?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You cut out for a second there, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said like I always, you know, like I do have to recognize it, like progress that I've made, because like, you know, it shows me that like if I have an intention of getting like, you know, adequately good, and then it has to match my action. I can't just have the intention, because then if I don't do the action, my intention means nothing. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Do you have like a set number of hours you practice every day? Or?
Hours per day? No, I've been probably averaging like between an hour to 2 hours, depending on how it goes. I'll do like I'm doing this thing right now, this 30 days of guitar, and I left off on day 7. I was going to go back to day 5 and kind of just, you know, do the little overlap and go, you know, maybe into like day 10, because I didn't do I did a few things before I saw this course available, so I've gone past like the first few things that they were doing, you know, because I've already done all those things, you know, adequately enough, like tuning and, you know, how to press on the strings and stuff like that. Like, they go over everything. So, but yeah, so I don't know. No, not really a set amount, but you know, and I've heard from people, oh, don't do it too much. Like, you know, your fingers get so sore that you don't want to practice. And it's like I think they're past that point now. You know, they don't get sore anymore. I don't have like huge problems or anything, but they definitely don't get sore like they did once.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually, if you keep on going, you will get to a point, even if you got the big calluses, like where you can play long and hard enough that that eventually you'll be like, oh, what's that? And then oh, my fingernails ripped off, or my fingers bleeding, or something like that. I had a lot of that at live shows,
Yikes.
but it does still happen, like after you get seasoned. But yeah, it's not even nearly as noticeable. 'Cause you're so desensitized to it, right?
Yeah.
But like even after, because I went like maybe a month without playing consistently, and
Mhm.
I had to rebuild my calluses. My fingers were like baby
Very
fingers.
tender. Yeah. How long did it take?
A couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad for me either. Like even just like from the beginning, like I think it lasted about 2 to 3 weeks. You know, the first painfulness. It wasn't too bad. It's worth it. Thank you, Will. And it's also like it helps. It really does help if someone can observe and tell you, give you feedback about something that you're doing. Like if you're doing something well or wrong, or if you've made progress, it really helps have an outside person confirm, you know, something like that. Because like I don't always trust myself, you know. But I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning a little bit.
I mean, you also want to have like, I mean, right now I think you're at that stage where you're still learning like rudimentary stuff, like
Yes, like scales, and how to use my pinky effectively, and you know all that stuff.
like at some point when once you come out of that, you're going to be like, oh, I hear this technique. I want to learn how to do this technique, and then you go and you'll go and you'll focus on that particular technique, you know.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of like that's after the stage where you've mastered like learning basic song structure.
Mhm. Yeah, mostly I've just been doing chords and like learning how to do changes, you know, without mashing every string and buzzing every string and stuff like that. So, but I don't know, I
Right,
don't know
right.
a lot of chords, and bar chords have been a challenge for me because I just haven't learned yet like what kind of pressure to put with the finger that goes across the strings. Like I'm not used to that yet. Still learning that too.
Have you tried down tuning?
I haven't tried that yet. No, haven't tried that.
Definitely a lot different, like a drop D or C or something.
Yeah, I'll try that eventually. You know, right now I'm just kind of like I'm going through these videos where it's like, oh, 30 songs that all use the same four chords, you know, and then like just, you know, pausing the video and doing it a bunch of times, like whatever chord changes make up the verses versus the chorus, and then whatever, and then I'll just move on to the next song and do that with the same thing with the next song, unless it's something that I really don't like. I'll skip it. But yeah, that's kind of how I've been practicing. It's just like with YouTube videos. How long have you been playing?
Yeah, when I went into it, I just had like I just wanted to write like 4 chord punk songs. So once I learned power chords, I was like, okay, that's all I need. And then like, well, I can go a little bit further with it, right? But then my intention at that point was just to write one song every day, and I surpassed that. I was writing multiple songs in a day, but it took a while.
Wow, that's quite a goal.
But that was kind of how I set my objective. It wasn't about it wasn't a length of time because I was playing like all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal was just to write that one song every day, and I had to do that. And then it'd be like, okay, now I'm not just going to write the song. Now I've got to actually record the song.
Yeah.
And so it became that whole process. But it's been like, multiple hours a day learning other people's music, and I go back and I would say, okay, how can I put 4 chords to this poem? Now, okay, I record it, make it, make it sound full, and do that. So it became just like a longer and longer process, I guess, what I'm saying, to where it's like, I think I spent more time like throughout high school playing guitar than not.
Oh, that's awesome, though. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Did you have an acoustic back then, or an electric, or both? Or
No, I strictly played electric back then. I wasn't really into acoustic much, like punky, grungy sounding stuff.
right. Right now, I'm playing my electric like an acoustic, basically. Doing a lot of strumming and stuff like that. So.
Oh yeah. I do that with my hollow body. Sounds pretty good.
Mostly just because I don't know finger picking yet, but I will eventually. So tell me about your setup that you use for recording.
What now?
Yeah, right now. Like, what do you use?
Oh, right now I've just got like my phone and the Chromebook. I don't have any like actual. I don't have anything intended for the purpose. I mean, I have like what I used to record. The track I sent you is called BandLab, just a phone app. You're able to like do multi-track recordings, but it's really kind of like difficult because it doesn't like wireless headphones. So I have to use wired headphones and use headphones. There's a little bit of delay when you're tracking. It's not playing like so. Like even when you use the wired headphones, you're still gonna have like a slight delay between your main track and then all your backing tracks, and you have to go back and like manually take out that whatever it is, half a second or something like that to line up the 2 tracks. Yeah.
So, okay, but wait a minute. I'm just curious. Like, your phone has this app, but then do you just record using? How do you get the sound of the guitar into the phone? Is it like through the Chromebook? Is there something? Are you using the microphone? Are you using some kind of plug-in device? Like, what are you using?
Yeah. So for the ones I sent you, no, I'm just using the microphone built into the phone. But that's because the way I did it, I had to record it onto my phone. But like when we were doing the cover, I had to listen to it through the Chromebook, and then have the phone ready to record. So I had to use both devices or whatever. Otherwise, like I can get a lot better sound if I record through my Blue microphone onto my Chromebook, but then I can't. I guess I could find a way to convert the file, but I haven't figured that out yet. Like I can't get like an MP3 recording out of it or whatever. You know what I mean?
What file type does it default to? WAV files are fine. Just FYI. Yeah. I could deal with almost any sound file, and if I can't deal with it, I can convert it. Yeah, so that's not a problem. I was just wondering, like, because Chromebook. What kind of ports does a Chromebook have, and what kind of memory does that have have available? Do you know?
Yeah, I've got to figure out the memory issue. It said my hard drive was full earlier when I was downloading some stuff. So
you might need I mean, if you're gonna keep the Chromebook as a working computer, depending on what kind of ports it has, I would, because some of the stuff you might get needs a USB connection, and if it only has like 1 port or something stupid like that, you can get like a powered USB hub to go in there. It'll give you like 4 or 10 ports extra. You can plug in, like a physical interface that you could plug your guitar into, or a microphone, or whatever. Yeah. Eventually.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to need. It has the 2 USB imports, but
okay, cool.
Yeah. And then my mic uses one of them. So.
Yeah, some of the newer computers don't even have a single USB. The classic USB. They have the USB-C, the new one. That you could flip it either way. But it's annoying because they'll have like one or two ports, and then it's like, okay, so now I have to get a hub. I have to get a USB hub for my whatever guitar or microphone. But yeah, I agree. The interface is definitely like necessary because like your guitar sound coming through a microphone is always going to be diminished by whatever is amplifying it and the quality of the mic, right? It's going to be affected by it. So if you can get an interface, it's going to give you whatever pure sounds the guitar is making, and then usually like I don't know if Chromebook can handle it because I don't know what kind of resources it has. But if you eventually can get like a little laptop that's just dedicated to your music stuff, you can get I was going to say a digital audio workstation program like Reaper is a cheap one. What is it? $80, $60? It's and you could use it free forever if you don't want to pay for it right away. You just have to wait 5 seconds and tell them that you're still evaluating it, but it's fully functional version for free. But you can use that and you can record your guitar coming through the interface. You got all kinds of cool filters that basically work like effects pedals and different amps. There's all kinds of free plugins to mess around with the sound. I mean, it's practically unlimited. Like seriously, sky's the limit when it comes to that stuff. So it opens up a lot of possibilities with like a pretty minimal investment. You can probably get like a used laptop for less than $500, and then the interface is like $100.
Yeah, the laptop's going to be the challenge, but yeah, it's something I need to invest in. I mean, I've been like thinking, about ways to like go back to like the old like analog style of recording like I used to do. Just, go do that, and then try to find a way to. But I mean, like all this stuff could be like really simplified by just getting those, the laptop and the interface.
Yeah, and then you have headphones, right? That's one more thing you need is wired headphones because you don't want like Bluetooth going on. You'll definitely be dealing with all kinds of stupid little delays and stuff like that. That's the one other piece of equipment that you need is wired headphones to plug into the laptop or it's the interface. The interface sometimes it has a headphone jack, so you don't have to have one on the actual computer. So some computers also don't have that.
The last thing?
I said some computers are also taking away the headphone jack, making you buy like a weird USB adapter or something for it.
Yeah, mine still has a regular little headphone jack. But I mean, that does bother me though. I'm like, you can't find a wireless set that like doesn't have the delay. Like, the wire getting in my way, man.
The thing is, like, it'll delay what you hear, and so like when you play, there'll be like you'll be playing, but you'll be hearing it in the headphones, like some tiny bit of delay. It's enough. It was enough to bother me, and I didn't make the connection until I was dealing with this Bluetooth speaker, and I tried all the things that they recommended for fixing. What do they call it? Latency, right? What the fuck? Like this is. I've done everything they said. Nothing is solving the problem. I thought it's waiting. It's like having to exchange a signal without being directly connected, and that's taking time. So that's when I bought a pair of headphones, plugged them in. Sure enough, that was it. So yeah. It was annoying. It was annoying enough to make me not want to do it until I got my headphones with that. The delay.
Yeah.
Yeah. William, I think he must be off work and is probably going to join us at some point here. He says, "Keep the stream going. I'm coming." Nice.
Oh.
Very nice. If you can keep it going, are you able to?
I can.
Nice.
And I'll have to repost the link.
I could probably send it to him if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Send it private. Otherwise, who knows what's piling in here?
What kind of riffraff will roll in? Riffraff like me at 2:30 in the morning. Whenever I go to I think about, saying something like in an environment that I'm in, like on Facebook. Facebook is full of idiots. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm here. I can't say that. It may be true, but I'm also here. So.
Amazon. What?
Yeah, I was finding
Is
it
that-
very, very difficult to transition into a C chord, but it's getting easier and easier.
Yeah.
So, I haven't gone back to editing Knocking on Heaven's Door yet because I haven't gotten yet any verses from people that wanted to sing a verse. So I'm just going to give it like a little more time and then see if it needs to become an extended version or not, because it might not. If nobody comes up with new verses, then it'll just be the regular version, I think.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I still haven't been able to put pen to paper on that one. I've ever since I watched that, because I watched a couple of live versions of it before I did mine, and then I was like, now YouTube keeps recommending me different versions of the lead. Maybe I should try that.
Thank you, algorithm. Yep. Hello to Bongs. Hi, buddy. Can't come up on my lap right now.
Yeah, I have a feeling like once I get all that stuff down, then like the interface and all of that, I'll probably end up back in that conundrum where there's like not enough time.
Not enough time.
You know what I mean?
Not enough time to play around with music.
Yeah, because like once I get, I'll start going OCD on a song, and then that's something I can just get wrapped up in.
Oh yeah. It'll become a priority for you. Hey, Will.
Hello.
Nice to see you.
Hello.
Just been practicing chord changes while I've been talking to Trusty Battle.
That's right. Don't be slacking off.
I'm
You know, I was going to ask.
Yes, I know.
I'm making a guitar pick out of some jackass's security card that he threw on the ground when he got fired.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's going to have his fucking fat face on it, too, so I'll always remember this jerk off.
Why do you want to remember him? You're immortalizing him.
Yeah, because I'm not going to see him again. And that just reminds me of how good it is not to actually see him in person. I can just look at the pic and go, oh, I'm glad I don't have to see that guy anymore. Fucking fat shit. He's just lazy. God damn it. All right, anyway, sorry. I'll stop bitching.
What did he get fired for?
Probably being a fat, lazy shit. I didn't check. I just saw him get mad and throw his security card down in my state. Oh, I cut part of his face off. That's almost more fun. Anyway, yeah, we have SLED in my state, and you have to have SLED background checking certificate and all that, and you get a special little ID card. And that jackass doesn't seem to realize that the next security job he goes to, he's going to need that. So he got mad and threw a tantrum and threw his security card on the ground. And I was like, hey, that could make 2 decent guitar picks. So I picked it back up.
Perfect. Making the best out of a situation.
Well, it's his bad situation, and it just works great for me because, yeah.
Do you have a pick punch? Or you just cut it?
Dude, yeah, I have a pick punch.
All right.
Yeah, I made like 150 picks last week just because I got all these cool sheets in of different colors, and I started doing it, and I was like, this is fun.
See, where do you keep them? Do you have like a little cup where they reside?
I have a Okay, so I have several different ones, like the ones I make out of credit cards and like IDs and stuff. I keep in a glass jar. Those are just like I just reach in if I need one. And then I've got all the other ones in like a plastic container that's separated into like 6 parts, and I have them by density,
Like
by
thickness and
thickness.
stuff. Nice. Cool. Yeah, when I went,
And then
when
I've
I-
got
Go ahead.
my 4 that I just ordered, those Black Mountain picks that go on your thumb, but it's
Mhm.
also a regular pick. So
Nice.
I don't know what the fuck to do with them because they don't fit anywhere. They don't fit in my guitar strap. They just, I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah, and they're funny. They're kind of a funny shape. They're not flat, so.
You know, Chris Broderick.
No.
Mm-mm.
He was
Should
with
we?
Megadeth for a while.
Oh, why didn't you say so? That nope, still didn't know him.
He uses those. He uses like the ones that affix to the thumb, but he has them on. He has them for each finger. I think he has his own like custom line of them. They're pretty cool. Never tried them, but I wanted to.
I'm not very good at finger picking. That's something I've been working on, but on the electric, it's really it's persnickety. You know, you could get that off-color twang if you do it wrong. I hate that shit.
That ice pick
Yep.
sound that you described.
No, the ice picking sound comes from like whenever you've got really high microphonic pickups on your guitar, and then whenever you're strumming, you're getting this hard pick sound, this tink tink tink. You know, it's just really, it's not
I see. I wonder if
becoming.
I've heard that yet on my guitar.
Mm-mm.
I don't
I
know if
probably-
you're playing heavy metal. What?
I get it on the Donner. The Donner guitar, I definitely get it on that. So the
Okay.
pickups on that. Aren't you glad you didn't go with the Donner? You didn't listen to me?
You know, all those extras sure are cool, but yeah, I'm glad. I got.
I mean, overall, that Ibanez that you got is probably the best bang for the buck. Because it was like 180, 190, whatever it was. And it's fucking great.
Yeah, well, it was $199. I think they inflated the price a little bit, but he gave me a discount because it was the only one on the floor, and B, on the floor. It was a floor.
And you got the 2 free setups or setups and get string changes and all that.
True. And you
So
know, like
that's more than worth the remaining amount there.
yeah, and they had not like this is a big deal, but you know, they had packages of picks, and I thought I don't want to buy like a fucking $7 stupid thing. I need picks, but I don't want to spend $7 more. So when I was up at the register, I said, "Hey, you guys any have like a couple picks hanging around that like I could just have?" The guy reaches into a jar and grabs like an overflowing handful and just like throws them in my bag. I'm like, "Oh,
Fucking A.
that's awesome, thank you."
He's got a pick punch, and he's just been making them like crazy since he got it.
These were Sam Ash specific. They're all the same
Ooh.
thickness and everything. But no, I was like, cool. So I keep them in a little like a little double shot glass on my desk because like basically if I drop one, I really don't want to like go fishing around for it when I'm
You would never find it because the cats would be playing hockey with that shit for the next 3 weeks.
So I just grab another one and then I pick it up later.
So you said you had a hollow body, Kevin. Is that right?
Yeah, semi-hollow. Yeah.
What
Les
is it?
Paul.
Oh,
Hey.
you got a semi-hollow Les Paul.
Yep.
Sweet.
Where the fuck did you get that?
It was actually, it's a long story. It was
That's a good-
inherited. Yeah, it was
Like,
inherited by my ex's younger brother, who ended up owing me some rent money. So I got the guitar in exchange for the missing rent money. And so yeah.
Well, I'm a little
Uh,
confused. How long has it been since Gibson stopped making hollow or semi-hollow Les Pauls?
It's not a Gibson; it's an Epiphone.
Okay, all right. That's what I was wondering because that's been ages ago when Gibson stopped making those. I was about to say you got an artifact on your hands.
Yeah, but it is. I think the guitar is like my age or slightly older. It was it was also the Marshall amp I got with it at the time was also a discontinued line. So
Yeah. Well,
I ended up
Epiphones
blowing
are
that
damn
thing.
good guitars.
yeah, they're solid. I know everybody's always like, "Oh, I go with the Gibson because but I think Epiphone just as well. And
this is
usually,
the kind of conversation I want to have right here because because my father is a guitar snob, right? He's a brand snob. Like it's Fender all the way. It used to be Gibson all the way. And then he switched over and it was Fender all the way. Stratocaster, Telecaster, or fuck yourself. And like I bought him a Donner guitar. It's a Tele body, but it's got 2 humbuckers and it's a semi-hollow. And I thought he'd be excited, and I took it over to him. But he tried it out, and it's not great. It's legitimately not the best guitar. I'm gonna try and make it into one, but like the goal was to show him that like affordable guitars can be good too, and I did not do that. Like he already had his nose up in the air because it wasn't a brand name, right? It wasn't Fender.
So did you just reaffirm his beliefs accidentally?
No, because I still have the Harley Bentons that I can't wait to show him. He hasn't seen any of them yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say you could show him the Ibanez, and that's
I could.
a cheap guitar too. I mean, cheap.
But he hates Ibanez. Like he
really
up until I brought him that acoustic back, and he totally forgot that he ever bought it and that I ever borrowed it in my 20s. And then I like show up 20-something years later, and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, remember this? I kind of fucked it up, but it's yours." And he's like, "Did I give you that?" He's like, confused and shit. And I'm like, "Yeah, you did. You gave it to me. You didn't let me borrow it. You gave it. That's what happened. I'm just giving it back. That's all. I didn't steal it or anything."
You can tell him anything at that point because he didn't.
But he's happy with that. Like he likes the acoustic. He'll play that. He just doesn't want to play an electric right now. Because he's old, and I don't know why an acoustic makes more sense to him. Seems like it'd be harder, but
maybe it's easier to just pick it up and play it. And with the electric, you got to do other stuff.
Well, he's been inspired by Keith Richards, and now he wants to play everything in an open G or open D tuning. And so he's just exploring being able to play in open tuning. And so it's whatever's rekindled it is fantastic at his age.
Yeah. Hope he keeps it going.
Yeah, I got a free guitar out of it. I got that Donner back. So he's like, "I don't want that shit." I was like, "I'll take that shit back."
Now you got a knock around, right? You got something to work on.
That's gonna be a fucking parts caster by the time I'm done. I'm thinking about putting some really I don't know if y'all have seen the Obsidian wiring for guitars. It's all plug-in. There's no soldering. Mm-mm. So if you ever want to change pickups, you don't have to do any soldering.
It's like a cartridge almost, right? You just pop in and pop out. Yeah, I love that. It's so cool.
All right. So that's what I'm looking at doing to that. That way I can, because it plays well. Like the Donners have good necks on them, good bodies, but they just go real fucking cheap with the electronics. And the tuners it's the worst tuners I've ever felt in my life. I never knew, because I've always played on cheap guitars. I never knew tuners
mattered.
That I couldn't get like make work. But like these are so crunchy and not like when you turn it, sometimes it wants to catch and turn the string, and other times it's like
spins,
around
right?
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means it's not secured very well. I mean, the string couldn't stretch at that rate, so it means it's not secured. The string's not secured in it.
They're just not really locking. They're not locking tuners. They're not great. So, but I'm going to put some locking tuners on there because it's too pretty a guitar not to fucking soup up, when
I told them at the guitar shop that I might change the strings out for a thicker variety, they said that, hey, look, it's V, our other guitar friends. You should come in.
Absolutely.
He said that, the guy that was there, he wasn't the guitar tech. He said that if you put thicker strings on it, there's a chance that when you tune it, it'll pull on the tremolo system and lift it up and raise the action. I don't know what scenario he was thinking of, but is that a real thing, or is that like something?
It would be the same amount of tension it takes to tune the nines.
Okay.
Like it's not gonna be.
So he's just imagining something that might happen, but it's probably not going to happen, right?
Yeah, I can't imagine that happening. It's okay. So yours is like mine. We have the same guitar, so it feeds into the back of the. Yeah, There's nothing about the Ibanez that you can put 11s on there if you wanted to, and it'd be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was the guitar anyway. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, It just,
The only thing that might happen, like what happened to mine, is you can stretch the spaces on the nut, so that when you put a lower gauge back on it, you're gonna maybe have a little bit of like slip and slide in there.
Are you talking about the action between the fretboard and the strings? The action,
No,
the space.
The space in the nut at the top of the headstock.
Uh-huh. Oh, like you mean
like the
like
groove.
because you're using the thicker strings, you're going to expand the. Yeah,
Oh,
that's not
right.
really
yeah.
that's you put a
I
little
wonder, do you have to
graphite.
replace the nut there or no? When you go for thicker
No.
strings?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, what I would probably do is take like one of those mechanical pencils and scratch it up inside of there real good to add some graphite,
Yeah.
so that lubricates it. I mean, it depends too. If it's a bone nut, it'll self lubricate because it'll chip off little bits of bone and
And it has
you know,
its
as
own
it's going.
sort of,
Yeah.
oily. It has a weird oily texture.
But the plastic ones, the ABS ones, don't do that. Like when it,
Yeah.
yeah, no. So yeah, I've got the addiction. It's pretty bad, but it keeps me working. Like it keeps me working a lot because while I'm working, I'm thinking I got another guitar I want to buy.
Must have money. Must
Right.
car.
Like let's see, car insurance, new guitar, car insurance. Yeah, but then I like because the Harley Bentons aren't that expensive. I don't have as long that I have to save up before I can get a really good guitar. So I'm gonna sell Kevin on Harley Bentons before long. You watch. He's gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna get one. Stop fucking with me. Like they're not top tier guitars. They're not. They're not meant to be. They're at a they're medium range guitars at a low range price. So they're like $600 guitars that you can get anywhere between $250 and $350. They're fucking fantastic for money.
And they have all the stuff that you would expect on a more expensive guitar, right? Like the stainless steel frets and the no absolutely zero fret sprout ever, right? Hey PT.
I haven't had any problems with frets.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people talk about how like the edges are really nicely rounded and almost like just fit slightly shy of the edge, so the fret sprout's not even like a possibility.
I mean, but there's a difference between the models because they're made in different places. Like the Jazzmaster copy has the best neck of any guitar I've ever played. And it's made differently. Costs the same as the Paisley Telecaster, but the Telecaster's got like a baseball bat of a neck on it. I mean, it's a fat fucking neck.
It just sets in your hand, right?
It's a monster. But like, I mean, for like playing rhythm, it's really good. For lead, it's a little more challenging, but I think when you get used to it, it's fine. But it's great for like rhythm.
Get rhythm. When you get the blues, get rhythm.
I got to say that V, your choice, the Pacifica, is still, I mean, on all the reviews, that one still comes out as like your best all around, your jack of all trades.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like the Yamahas.
Yeah, they get really good reviews. They just don't get as much like word of mouth. Like people don't brag on them as much, and you don't have.
Yeah, I noticed that too. They always made quality guitars. I mean, they started off as their music company. They started off making pianos and guitars. That's like one of their trademarks.
I think they're probably higher quality than Ibanez. I mean,
people from Japan too, right? Yeah, I mean, well,
yeah.
Yamaha. Yeah, Ibanez Japanese company. Well, yeah, Ibanez. I kind of like when I checked them out before. Like Ibanez and Jackson's are kind of like similar in
Jackson and ESP. Yeah, Jackson and ESP. I mean, they're all really good mid-range, but Yamaha goes all the way up. Like you can Yamaha and Ibanez go all the way to the premier, the really prestigious kind of where they're made in Japan. They're not made in Mexico. They're not made in Indonesia. When you get that's like with all guitar lines. Just find out what their Japanese models are because that's going to be their expensive shit.
Like one thing that gets me, like when you mentioned the Mexico one, the Fender Mexican Strats, they're like The only difference between a Mexican Strat and American Strat is the bucket that the Floyd Bridge is set in, and the nut is a different material. That's the only difference on those things. That's it.
I've kind of been fighting the Jones for the new Ibanez Telecaster because they can't call it a Telecaster because of copyright. But the one that Lisa Basilio played, or Laura Basilio, whatever her name is, she's like the Steve Vai, but of Ibanez now, like that she's kind of got the, because Steve and Joe Satriani are getting a little old. They're doing they're probably their final G3 tour. They both just released new guitars. And where I can see Joe Satriani probably releasing 2 or 3 more signature series guitars before he's done. I think the PAI is the last one for Steve Vai. I think this is it for him.
I think I know what you're talking about. Isn't Ibanez also the one? I'm trying to remember. Ibanez is the one that has the handle in there, right? It has like a hole through it. You can like grab the whole guitar.
That's the Steve Vai. He's got the gem, and that's got the full hand grip. And then his new one doesn't have that. It has 2 holes in the top in the same place, but they look like teardrops. Like, well, they look. You feel dirty when you slide your fingers up in there. But, got to put one in the stink.
There's this little comedy group that does like little songs back in the day, and they has one jam called "It's My Instrument," but they talk about the instruments like women. The guy's like, my bass is like a woman's got a big fat ass and a hole in it. It's hilarious.
Nice.
Is that all that's required? Jesus.
No, it's just funny the way they kept like progressing into it. It's like raunchy. I probably wouldn't find it funny now, but at the time, 15 years ago, yeah, it's kind of funny.
You ever see that movie called The Aristocrats, where it's just a bunch of comedians telling the same joke in a more and more like crazy version?
Yeah, Gilbert Gottfried does it best.
Yeah.
And then the dad was in the dog, and then the yeah, it's just crazy. It's fucking hilarious.
What's that called?
The Aristocrats.
The Aristocrats, but you have to find Gilbert Gottfried's version of it because nobody does it better than him.
Well, he's on the movie where everyone does it.
I haven't seen that movie. I just saw his little stand-up thing of it, and
okay, I thought a long time ago, but yeah, funny shit.
Mm-hmm. And I guess it's a long-running gag that the comedians are like the jokers, they like to tell the truth. So that's the thing they talk about. That's talking about like the higher up people in Hollywood. That's what they do, and they're making fun of it. That's
incest and pedophilia and all that shit.
Yeah, because they're actually going to a Hollywood movie mogul to make a movie or something. What's your idea for a movie? Well, we got this idea, and it came out. It starts off lame, and we don't like it. Okay, well then the dog, and then the guy, and
they're interested. Yeah.
Hey Kevin, can I trouble you to present my screen for a second?
Oh yeah, go for it.
All right, this is that new Ibanez Telecaster, and this is the chick that it's named after. Sweet. Laurie Basilio, but I think she's the next Steve Vai. I think she is.
I think I know her favorite color.
Chris Lavender. That's a color.
And I want one.
Yeah, I definitely see how you make the connections to Visor too. So yes,
Yeah.
Very-
and
very,
the guitar
very
I like
similar.
too. I like the guitar a lot as well.
It's a nice looking
yeah,
guitar.
it's beautiful. And also said they have a lavender model as well.
Oh yeah, it's fucking sweet. And I'm a guy, and I'm a straight guy, but I looked at that shit and I was like, I could own that. I would own
Yeah.
that. But I like the white a lot too. But
They're
for
both
me, this is
very
a
pretty.
purchase. This
White
is
was
like one of
clean.
those. I think it's $2,200. So for me, if I get that shit, it's like the last guitar I get for a decade, right? It's, or at least is the last. You get one of those in that price range. Is what you get. Like what I got now is nothing is over what, except for my Les Paul, which I never really play anymore. All my guitars are like under $300.
How do you ascertain whether or not a guitar is $2,200 worth of enjoyable to you?
Oh, that one that you say enjoyable. It's going to go down to neck, tone, like you know all the features. We've talked about guitars forever.
Right.
I mean, depending on what you favor.
Right. Okay.
Right? Like the Ibanez feel. I've never gotten an Ibanez that didn't feel good to play. I've just got an Ibanez where the pickups sounded kind of. I didn't like the pickups. I didn't like their tone was so clean and bright that I just didn't. It was too perfect. You know, It wasn't muddy. It like the Gibson I was used to. But it's grown on me. Like almost all my shit now, I'm playing between a Harley Benton and the Ibanez.
Yeah.
My acoustic electric is an Ibanez. The Geo is an Ibanez, and then my bass, that micro, is an Ibanez. So I've got 3 Ibanez right now.
Nice.
I can't shit on them.
I tried. I don't know. Like, I thought about the whole pawn shop option, but it kind of made me sad to think about people having to like basically give up. You know,
you're going to get ripped off. You're likely going to get ripped off there because these people, it's not like it used to be where the pawn shop owner didn't bother to do his fucking research and find out what he's got. Nowadays, as soon as they get a new product, they put that shit in Google. They find out what it's worth.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're gonna charge you them. They're gonna charge you like it's fucking new.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, and they'll hide things too. I was checking out this one Gibson they had. It was an older one too. It was a nice yellow, like a '60s model or '80s style, like a pale yellow. That was pretty badass. Check it out. I looked at it. Fucking neck repair on. You can still see this, line in there.
I would say probably one of the
best.
That's
a bad sign.
Yeah.
One of the best places to get a guitar is at a fucking garage sale.
Absolutely, garage sale or Craigslist.
$10
or Craigslist, yeah.
You're gonna put it out there for $25 and hope that somebody wants to buy it.
Nah, it's Craigslist all day and Facebook Marketplace because people get these things. They get them for their kids. They get them for themselves. They're gonna learn guitar, and then they go, "Oh, it's hard," and then they stop, and they want to get some money back, but they don't even. They just know what they paid this much for it, and you're not gonna.
They want to recoup something, yeah.
Yeah, I picked up a couple of nice ones on. Actually, I got one I'm repairing right now because some chick freaking stepped on it at my shop. One of the interns is this
Ovation.
Right my Ovation. It's a thinner one. It's the slimline one. It's a really nice Ovation. I got it for $65 on Craigslist out of a tattoo shop, and it played perfect. Love that guitar.
Halsey likes those.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's like Bob Marley style choice too. Those Ovations.
Very cool.
And it played really clean until I had it in my shop and they're goofing around the back, and I just heard a big crack, and they separated the whole neck from the body. So I have to take it apart and repair it because it has And then I got my bass.
Huh? Hold on, let's see that bass.
Pay for it?
No.
Now is that your Pacifica right there? What is the?
No, I have
that's a Strat.
This is a Yamaha bass I got I got this for $80 on Craigslist. It's like a $300 model.
I'm talking about the one that's plugged in.
Oh, this one or this one?
Yeah, the one that looks like a Strat.
This is a Strat.
Okay, well, where's you don't have the Pacifica anymore.
No, I never had Pacifica. I had a Yamaha, a different model by Yamaha. It was like a plastic one. This is the Chet. No, Kenny
I
Way
was confused.
Yeah,
I was confused. I knew that you had a Strat, but I thought you also had the Pacifica.
Oh no, I had a Yamaha. I had like a Yamaha AG something, and I always wanted to get a Pacifica. That's what I'm looking at. if I get another one, it'll
Go
be a
back to your
Pacifica.
Les Paul. Go back to that Les Paul. Let's see that the skin on that bad boy.
That's my dumpster baby. I got it.
Oh man, really?
That's why it's all shaved up. I took off a whole bunch out of it.
You relic the fuck out of that.
Sweet.
I had to. It had a big chunk.
I like it though.
I got out of the dumpster.
You ought to finish the paint removal on that bitch. Just get it down to that natural.
I kind of like it kind of partially there because like I don't know, it gives it some flavor to have like some of its old life on it. You know what I mean?
I kind of like that too. It's kind of wore out a little bit. But I had to get the whole setup. It didn't have the bridge. It didn't have the knobs, no tuners, nothing on it. So I had to put all that in there and the pickup.
What the fuck is Tog talking about?
I don't know.
Home time. Now I vibe toots.
Please vibe toots.
I think he means he's getting stoned. I don't know.
Okay, because toots where I'm from means you're farting.
Yeah.
Right? You tooted.
Toots for me, very old school term is for cocaine. Toot sweet.
Oh, tooting up, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That
schneefing. Now you're schneefing.
Schneefing and tune, but just don't boop it, okay?
Oh, no dick dingers.
Was there a time when they called like doing lines of coke doing toots or something like that? I've heard of that before.
I've heard little bumps that's toots. You know, like you just take a bump off of a little spoon that somebody dips into a vial.
I just don't think he meant vibe toots. Now I vibe.
I think he meant two. I vibe two. I don't know. He couldn't have probably ENS by mistake.
Maybe he wants us to put that video back on so he can toot along to it, like improvisational flatuation.
Maybe he has a kazoo.
I'm talking about something like that.
Now Little Richard makes sense.
Oh, Rudy. Who's Rudy though? Come on. That's not Rudy.
Everybody knows what's going on with Little Richard. He wasn't putting on makeup when he went to go powder his nose, and then he did sometimes. Makeup, yeah. But he always looked ashy. But I don't think he was ashy. I think it was just powdery. Like his. Yeah, I think he was always like giggling into the Coke bag.
That was like his face makeup. He had a little powder puff in there. Oh, baby, check me out now. Yeah.
Well, when you go all crazy and dance around and stuff, it can hide your drug state. You know what I mean? Like he could have been all hyped up on Coke, and they've been like, "Yeah, that's just how he dances."
There's a horrible beach movie that he you know how they did at the time. They forced these actors to be like the backup under different names. Okay, so Little Richard is on one of these, and he looks so fucking stoned. I mean, dude did not care. He's like, this is part of my contract. I don't even want to be here. He's like singing, but he is zooted out of his fucking mind.
Wow.
I mean, I'll have to find it because like the MST3, the riff tracks guys make fun of it. And they're the ones that pointed it out. And I was like, holy shit, they're right. Little Richard is fucked up out of his mind. It's just that nobody ever watched the movie, so nobody noticed.
Have you ever seen or heard that cut of Elvis singing? He's singing. Hold on, I'll find out what it is here.
Do you know why
singing a song? He starts giggling and he can't stop.
No, I haven't heard that one. Did you know that those beach movies or whatever, most of the time they weren't even watching them. The popular ones were getting played over and over in the drive-ins. Drive-ins, that's what they're called. Yeah, the drive-in theaters. And nobody was watching it because they went there to make out.
Right.
And they would go back again and again because they didn't see it the first time, and they didn't see it the second time, and they didn't see it the third time. And so they never fucking saw the movie. Right? They just listened to the music and they made out and steamed up their car. And you know, when you're in a car, you steam up the window, so you're not seeing shit.
This was your hotel room on wheels back then, basically.
Think about it. They didn't have cell phones. There was no entertainment. They got together. They went to the fucking movies, and they got their dicks wet. That's what they were doing. Dudes were taking chicks to the drive-in to try to score.
Make that play.
There's only 1 million movies about it. I mean, how could you not? Like, it's the most privacy that you would get in the 50s, right? Because you're living at home with your parents and shit. There's just nowhere to go except for out in the woods. I mean, you could do that, but like, this was something that you could go do and just sort of have some privacy, your own little hotel room, like you were saying. Except for there are a lot of people parked around you, but they're not looking either because they're digging into. Except for like those ones, I don't know if you saw the Outsiders, but they had like an indoor concession stand thing.
I read the book. That's what, yeah, they got a confrontation in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the socials. Damn socials.
Wait, you didn't watch the movie?
No, I read the book in
I read the book
I think it was
too,
7th or 8th grade.
The
Yeah.
Outsiders.
I've read it like 4 times, but the movie's fantastic, dude.
Yeah, the
It's
movie's
like
great.
one of the
Never
only.
seen
I loved watching Tom Cruise get punched in the face because he wasn't a star
Oh,
then, so he just
No, I gotta see it.
they dogged him up pretty good in that
His
fight.
his teeth were all messed up in that movie too.
Hmm.
Like, that was
Emilio
Yeah.
Estevez fooled me into trying chocolate cake and beer. Don't ever do that.
Isn't Ralph
Don't
Macchio
ever-
in there too?
Yeah,
Of course.
Yep,
Of
he
course.
played the kid that got burned.
Johnny.
Right?
You're
Yeah,
talking about Johnny.
Oh,
Yep.
Johnny.
Matt
Okay.
Dillon.
that was
yeah.
an all-star cast. For
I'm
real.
trying to
Matt
remember the
Dillon
book,
screaming, do it for Johnny, man. Do it
E.
for
Thomas
Johnny.
Howell. Remember E. Thomas Howell was in
He
it
was
also.
Pony Boy.
All right,
I'll get
right
the
on.
trailer. You want me to get the trailer?
Ponyboy was the older brother, right? Yeah.
Younger.
Oh,
Got-
young. Wait, who's
Dally was, Dallas.
Dallas? Okay,
He
okay.
was
So
like
who
acting
was
dad, I
Dylan
think.
playing? Was he playing the older brother then?
Yeah, he's the oldest one.
Yeah.
Okay, I was imagining him as the older
Matt Dillon
brother.
was the oldest.
Or
Junior.
Swayze's
Check
actually
this
the
out, PJ.
There's like 5 brothers or something, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You got me, Kevin?
Oh,
I'll share the screen, I guess.
Yeah, I got the trailer, bro, because it's that
Right on.
it's that kind of all-star cast. Like these people were not even like popular. Well,
oh yeah, Patrick
little-
Swayze forgot
Bet
about
they're
it.
looking for us.
This is our territory.
Oh yeah, Patrick
I
Swayze was
wish
Sally,
they could
right?
concentrate on something else just once in a while.
I'm mixed up with
What's your name?
Matt Dillon.
Pony Boy Curtis.
These are greasers who tried to pick up on our women. Can't you see what I'm going through?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Bravo.
Must be someplace. Not grazers, socials. Must be someplace with plain ordinary people.
You be careful. Ain't gonna hurt you no more.
There you go, Pony Boy.
I remember the book that had guys hair blonde and run away. Yeah.
It had one of the best like gang fight scenes in it. Like we watched it in school. That was a thing that you did, and like it was after that people started meeting down at the ball field and beating the shit out of each other. They're like, all
Just
right,
for
well,
fun.
well, it just I think they've been doing it ever since it became part of the curriculum. As far as I know, they'd always gone to fight at the.
I remember those
ball
days. It's like like my buddy Ralph will get in a fight. He's gonna fight Jason and Jonathan, these two twins. Okay, you're gonna be on we're gonna go down there, we're gonna freaking group up and we're gonna meet each other, they're gonna fucking duke it out. Nobody gets in it, but everybody gets in it,
Yeah,
Just
nobody
that,
ever
yeah.
stays out of it. Everyone
Oh,
that
no,
says they're
yeah.
going to stay out of it ends up like they sit in the sidelines for a minute. They're like, "Fuck that shit,"
Yeah.
and then they jump in, or you have to jump in because somebody's strangling someone purple, and you're like, "Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You got to
I
stop,
see-
man. We're going to jail if you keep
I
that
see.
up."
I seen a couple of dudes beat a dude retarded, like retarded. Like,
Was he retarded when they started, or they?
No,
they
after
worked
they
him into
finished,
it?
they kind of messed him up. Yeah,
Like brain
Oh, man.
damage, eh?
rocked him. They got him with a rock. Yeah,
See, that's fucked up. Like we didn't
Mhm.
cheat like that. We didn't. I mean, it was if somebody would have pulled a weapon, we would have all jumped in and beat him half to death.
Yeah,
I mean, there's just no way that you would have gotten away with that, unless it was the gun, and then you'd have been standing all by yourself because we'd have ran like bitches.
yeah, yeah. You don't mess around with guns.
I saw a video once where this gang of teenagers were having they looked like they were having a real confrontation, like nothing was for fun in this. But one of the guys that seemed to be the focus was punched really hard and then body slammed, right? Really from really high up, down on like asphalt. And dude, this guy afterwards, I think they seriously like broke his spine. Because he like seized up in this like messed up position and his face just went blank and he was like his body was like jerking on the ground.
That's fucked up.
Everybody just scattered. I was just like, okay, I wish I hadn't watched that because like now that image is in my head. Like I don't want that. In my head.
You know, I'd never seen a curb stomp before American History X, and then I was like, holy shit, that is the most savage thing I've ever seen. Like it replaced everything I'd seen before with the most savage.
Have you ever seen American Me?
Back on the curb.
You ever watched that movie American Me?
No, I don't think
it's about this half-breed Mexican guy. They call him a Wedo. They cast him out because he's half white, but he actually joins. He becomes the leader of the gang, and the Mexican brother becomes a cop. Anyway, it's like a weird thing, but it's they get into the street fight. Maybe Blood In, Blood Out or American Me. One of those two. They get a street fight. There's one dude. And these two guys grab. One guy grabs by his legs, the other guy grabs by his arms. They go over a fucking fire hydrant. Just fucking like lift him up. They fucking like parachute, kindergarten parachute plan. Fucking just bashes fucking back into the fucking fire hydrant over and over again until it fucking breaks in half, pretty much.
Yeah, paralyze him. That was Blood In, Blood Out. Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, that was a pretty vicious scene right there.
Yeah,
and that's all based on a true story too. So
it is. Yep. And so is American Me. Actually, American Me, James Edward almost had to go into hiding because he portrayed the gang member he was playing as getting, raped in juvie, which it did happen. And when he made that, he had to go into fucking hiding for a while. They were looking to kill his ass for a bit.
Well, that's more of an admission than not doing anything about it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Here, I'll give you a palate cleanser. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask Kevin. Were you able to get the track, the improv track?
Oh yeah, I confirmed that I thought you had downloaded the file, and I'm always trying to make room on my drive because I've always got like a shortage of space. So I had put it in the trash, the file. So I and then made sure that it was like accessible, and so you should be able to download it now.
Got you. Yeah, I'll have to. Well, I'm trying to. The problem is I'm trying to download it to the Chromebook. So, because of like the process we were talking about earlier, so I'll have to listen to it through one device and then record it on my phone. So,
I mean, and there's also you could just like listen to it since you're just listening to it. You don't need to have the audio track specifically. You could just go to the YouTube link and listen to it from the actual YouTube page, and then record it on your phone.
Record that,
using a separate device anyway.
But you'd have to listen to it through earbuds or something because you couldn't have it over the. Because are you recording with a microphone or are you using an interface?
No, just the microphone. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you'd have to listen through headphones so it wouldn't pick up the jam track.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I'll like pair it with the jam track, and so that way adjustments can be made. Your guitar on its own can be put through some kind of filter if you want, or whatever.
Gotcha.
Different stuff can be done to it to make it sound like extra super cool.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm down with effects too and stuff. I just don't have any. Like, I just have my little practice amp. But my other amp, it's got like reverb and flange built in and all of that, but my practice amp doesn't have any of that. So
okay.
If we can get you up to interface level, then the PAWs, the DAWs, tend to have like X pedals and different amplifiers that you can run through, like simulators.
Right. Yeah.
All the pedals or a big pedal.
I have a friend who has always this excess of computers hanging around because he does repair. And a lot of people just give him their computers. And I don't know. He lives in Nevada, but he's in and out of California a lot. And I just don't know if he ever goes to Northern California. But I could ask him if he has like a cheap laptop available. He might have something that he could probably just kind of like drop off to you or something.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I've known him since I was like a teenager. He used to work where I worked. And then he has his own computer business now. He designs software and does repair. So. But he's a super cool, honest guy. Like I told him one day, I'm like, oh, I wish I could play. What was that game? Dungeon Keeper 2 again, like a Windows 90.
I love that one.
Oh, fucking love that game. Anyway, so I said,
hey, can I give Wild Heart a link?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, I'm trying to find his name here in my list.
I could send it to him if you want.
Yeah, DT's out there too. And do y'all need room?
Yeah, I just put it back down in the chat. Sorry.
Is your account just for 6 people only?
All right, everybody can get in.
Cool.
DT's gonna come on and whip out his cock again.
Yeah, but I mean, if you could just leave that the jam track there till like tomorrow morning, I'll go down to the library and just download it real quick.
Yeah, I'll just leave it there like for a while. I was just for some reason like since I'm so like kind of like of the minute, I thought you probably downloaded it already. I didn't check with you. So.
Do you have you used jam tracks before like that, Kevin? Like where you improvise to them?
Well, I mean, I used to just kind of like play along with albums. Like I've never had like one that was like I was checking out his page too after you sent it to me too. I was like, oh, there's like a whole
that elevated jam tracks.
Yeah, that guy that plays Harley Benton's all the time.
That's awesome.
He does.
I used to kind of like make tracks like that on my own, but I would do it with I'd have like a drum loop, and then I'd put my bass riff down, little rhythm guitar, and then I'd just go back and I've got some of those recorded too, where I did like 5 guitar tracks or something, just to get that little yeah.
Well, I like his because he shows the chords and all. So not only do you get to learn the lead, but you can kind of play along with the rhythm. I mean, he shows you all the changes and everything. It's just like every one of his videos, you get to see how all of it's done, where the chords are, where the notes are, and then he does his little solo at the end, that little last clip.
He's very generous, with his expertise.
Who's this guy?
Elevated Jam Tracks.
Elevated Jam Tracks.
Yeah, I'll send you a link real quick.
Oh, right on. Sweet.
Here, I'll just put this out there as like a funny thing for a second or two, and then we'll move on if that's okay. I'll put that laughing Elvis thing.
Oh, you guys talking about like guitar pedals and junk? I got the coolest thing I gotta show you. I got for like cheap on not Craigslist, Facebook.
Ooh, cool. An actual pedal?
What is it?
Oh, it's not a pedal at all. It's just something that I thought was really cool. It's like super cheap. Let me see if I can get my camera down here on this thing.
Yeah, make a big full screen maybe for his thingy.
Let's see. Oh wait. Okay, it's my guitar shit there. This thing. I can't get that too close to it, but it's a tuner.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I think it's really freaking cool. I don't know why. But it's purple and green like the Joker.
Nice. Party like a Mardi Gras colors too.
Well, what's really cool about it is the Pigtronics, and they go for like $150, and I got it for like $45.
Oh fuck yeah!
Yeah, all my shit.
Awesome.
Have you ever heard of Filtertron pickups?
No. Wait, was it one of the ones that you showcased or showed on the black? There are a couple different ones I was looking at, different styles.
Yeah,
maybe,
I like the Filtertron, and I like I don't know if you've seen the Seymour Duncan P rails.
Yeah, I seen those ones. Okay, so the
P90 humbuckers, but I like those a lot. And then the Filtertrons are really old. Like they've been around a long time, but they're it's hard to describe. They're kind of
those flat like black ones. It was like
they look like they've got bolts across the top of them. I mean, they're just unique looking when you see them. You know how like you can eyeball a P90 and say that looks like a humbucker with a single line of
yeah.
So this is normally it's a humbucker. It's got 2 lines. Just like a regular humbucker does, but it's normally encased in like metal. I have to show you some. I'll just have to show you some.
I know what you're talking about almost. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
They got a really cool sound to them.
What are they called again?
Filtertron. That's what I'm thinking about putting those on that Donner in the humbucker spot. Yeah, just to see how they do. But I'm going to do that thing you told me, PJ. I'm going to shield the inside of the electronics.
Oh, right on.
Cavity.
Yeah.
There they are. Yeah. Filtertron pickups. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
They kind of look like a studded dog collar.
Right. It's almost like so you see like a Mad Max movie. Like
so these are the pickup microphones right here. These little heads that look like screws, or what?
Well, sort of. The mic. I guess you would just call the pickup the microphone, but that's where the magnet is like
Mhm.
pulling through. That's what's holding it all together. So they're hello, Wild Heart.
Hey, Wild.
That's
Figured
the
Allie-
tiniest cigarette ever he just lit. My man's got a roach.
Anyway, let's
This is the giggly
yeah. So I'll
giggly
just
Elvis.
put it past the first few minutes because it doesn't start until right now.
I do the chairs in your parlor seem empty and bare. Do you gaze at your bald head and wish you had hair?
No, that's why.
With pain, shall I come back? Tell me, dear, are you lost? Oh, Lord.
He forgot his line. That's why he plays with hair. That was Picture Me There.
The world's a stage and each must play a part. Oh, God. Oh, man, I tell you. And I had no cause
Elvis
to
was
die.
high as fuck.
Oh. Sing it, baby. Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome? Is your heart filled with pain? Shall I come back again? Tell me, dear, are you lonesome tonight?
High
good.
as
Do you remember?
fuck.
Do you remember Dr. Demento?
Yeah.
I heard that on Dr.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's why I first heard like fish heads and remember that one? Fish heads.
Oh, this one's for you, PJ. DT's question right there.
Oh, what's this?
So
You ever heard of a locking bridge?
a Floyd Rose locking bridge?
I look at a lot of Floyd Rose setups. I have to say I've probably seen it, but I don't remember recalling the exact of a locking bridge. I remember they had the fine tuners, there's a locking nut at the top, but that's
Yeah, I
part
know
of
they have
setup.
The
the
nut at the
floating
top.
tremolo bridge.
So what's good, Wild Heart?
What's happening?
How's it going? Yeah. Yeah, fine. That was funny. Yeah, obviously. I like it.
How's sobriety? How's that going?
Yeah, not bad. I'm getting used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're definitely able to hold your own against Jill lately.
Yeah, well, that's not difficult most of the time, to be fair.
We need to get Wild Heart a microphone upgrade.
All right, am I quiet? Sorry. I'm quite a long way from the computer.
Not quiet, it's just the sound quality is a bit harsh.
Yeah, you're not so loud, but it's a little bit like a grainy.
Yeah, there's a little tiny bit of distortion. It might be because the volume on your side is up a little high.
Yeah, I'll put it automatic. I'll reduce back to normal. Not going to. Yeah, hopefully that's better. So how's it going? Is there a topic or is it just general?
Oh yeah, we're talking about instruments, man.
Cool.
Yeah, Wild Heart
Or
plays
complex post-traumatic stress disorder, whichever you want. No.
Yeah, we did that earlier.
Well, what were you going to say, Will? I play Mean Triangle.
No, I said you played the meat flute.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I'll tell you not to mention that.
Flute.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to keep it under my hat. I mean, you're better than Kenny G. I like the way you gave it a pet name, the Sexophone. That's really good.
Yeah. Nice.
So if he's better than Kenny G, because Kenny G practiced circular breathing, that's why he could hold a note forever.
Oh, really?
Damn, Wildheart.
That's what you do with the whatchamacallit, the thing, the Australian instrument. What is that called?
Yeah, the didgeridoo.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, that's good.
I tried doing that. I tried circular breathing. It's difficult. You
It
have
is.
to
I
have
had
a non-stuffy nose, and I have this constantly stuffy nose.
I can never get it. I got a didgeridoo at a swap meet in San Diego, and I messed with that. I could get it going for a while, but get it sounding right. But the circular breathing part to keep it going, no, I could get the whole wah, 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 and all that cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
My son has one of those. I am not gonna lie. Every time I walk by it, I have to snatch it out of the corner and go.
Yep.
Nice.
And that's really what it is. They made an instrument that made you feel okay about making fart noises.
That's what I mean. When I was in 7th grade, I got the trumpet. You guys, that's all you do. Make fart noises in there.
It's like teaching you to do duck calls, and you just don't even realize it. You're making Wildheart think about his rubber ducky. He's gonna have to go take a bath.
Rubber ducky.
Yeah, I'll go on the bath now.
Rubber ducky.
Oh, see, that would be great. That would be an awesome clip if Wildheart would film himself from the from the abdomen up in the bathtub with his rubber ducky singing the Bert and Ernie rubber ducky song.
Yeah, that'd be funny as hell.
That would go viral.
The heritage would have to be Bert.
How many different ways can you try and get me, on camera in the bath? Stop trying, well, it's not gonna.
I got my fingers and other things crossed.
Lucky man.
It's not luck.
The other thing's your eyes.
Okay. Wildheart, that was loud.
I don't know what to do.
You could mute when you call.
Go to your settings in StreamYard real quick and go to audio.
Yeah.
To your go instead of saying automatically adjust mic volume, uncheck that and turn it down to like 20% of what it is right now, and then talk and see how it sounds.
Right, is that better?
Half, maybe half. Do half.
Yeah.
That sounds perfect. What do you think, guys? Does that sound good?
Is that okay?
Yeah,
it's
good to me.
Cool. Cheers, man.
It needed manual fiddling. None of this automatic bullshit.
I want to try and get Kevin's stream taken down. Kevin, will you share that?
Uh-oh.
It just made me think of Wildheart.
Hey, I don't want you to necessarily share this, but Will, can you just take a look at this and tell me if you've ever heard of this before? You don't have to do anything with it except for
They stop playing with them.
What the hell is that from?
It's from Letterkenny.
You guys would have been able to hear it the whole time as I was laughing.
Right, so Will, there was a big fat man with a ginger beard talking about butt sex. What in the world reminds? How does that remind you of me? Makes no sense whatsoever.
I'm going to let you think about that for a while.
It might be just the red beard part of it.
Yeah, I think it's best that I don't tell you. I just let you wonder. It's felt pretty
Good
natural,
morning, Christian
guys.
Carpenter.
One of those there erogenous zones.
Yeah, erogenous.
No, it was that time that remember you told me that when prostitutes kissed near your genitals that tickled and make
All
you
right.
feel insecure.
Yeah.
To,
Does it every time?
story to just bring up randomly. Remember when that prostitute did this?
Oh, yeah, that used to be a pretty regular occurrence over Wild Hearts. So.
Yeah. I
There was
call
that
them
time that she suggested that he should have some attentions paid to his buttholes.
yeah, I call those the good old days. Yeah. Happy times.
Hopefully the good old days are still coming.
He's not wasting his money on dirty tramps right now.
Not right now.
He's got to clear up his last bout of VD.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get some more of that steroid cream. That'll be there.
Oh, it's time for a sandwich.
Oh, I'll make a sandwich. Yep.
Oh man, I wish we still had access to the videos of you in your tooth and your tongue fungus and the you were like they
gone
should put that.
forever?
It should be like a dare program. It should seriously. It should be the thing that they show kids. Be like, look, you don't do drugs, man. And don't eat cock cream sandwiches. Most of all, don't ever do that.
I think there might be. I think there might be an old stream somewhere on this channel with a drunk Wild Heart. Yeah, it's
I've lost all mine.
yeah, it's a pretty old.
Yeah, I don't know how we got. Oh yeah, that's because prostitutes and then the yeast infection in your mouth and prostitutes and yeast infection. That's
Yeah, that's definitely how it went. So I'm not entirely happy about it, but yeah, that's what it went.
Hopefully that's all resolved.
you just got to set boundaries for yourself, man. Don't go down on prostitutes. Don't do that.
I've no one to blame but myself. You know?
Oh, she should have warned you. I mean, she's like, my last customer is basically still down there.
He's dove into the. Well, I'll say it.
I don't know though. I keep having this like recurring thought. I'm like, at this stage in my life, I'm 35. I've never been with a prostitute. Maybe I should try it at least once. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same way about heroin and fentanyl.
Yeah, you should try.
Afterwards, you'd be like, I could have saved $200 and just, had a little fantasy.
All right, like think about it. You're gonna go through this process of risking getting carved up by a pimp or something like that to see a prostitute when you could just have a wank and forget that you were even interested in sex for the next couple hours.
Get your post-nut clarity on.
How about before calling any prostitute, you go ahead and pull one off and see if you still want to call a prostitute?
I'd say pull 3 off.
Right.
You got time.
Back to back.
I mean, it's really just one. If you pull one off and you still want a prostitute, go for it.
No time to stiffen up again. Get to work.
What are we talking about again? You're on topic, eh?
Someone take over this stream. Can't leave it to me. Make you watch fat bearded men talk about getting their prostate milked. That's what happened.
There seems to be a trend.
Are you willing to look at that link now? I just want to know if you've heard of that. I don't know if I heard of that through you or heard of that channel through you. I see a lot of cool stuff.
Nah, you ain't heard about this shit through me.
Oh, okay.
I can tell by the name.
It's interesting though. It's kind of grungy and I guess kind of stoner rockish psychedelia, modern psychedelia.
Yeah, a sweet Les Paul.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I was like, ooh, I want to hear what that their setup sounds like.
Oh, this is the. No, I thought this was a guitar teacher going over it, and that's just the next. If I click next, it's the guitar teacher reacting to.
I see. No, it's they have a good sound though. I like it.
Let's say good morning to Sandy. Good morning, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
Oh, hey, Christian.
Oh,
Also.
Mr. Lizard slithered out of his hiding place.
Really?
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll catch you later.
Where
I have
is he?
mischief to attend to.
Where is he?
Oh.
Oh, come on. I want to know. Oh, he's with Tog. Okay. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm gonna listen.
Tog's channel. Tog's streaming now.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't post the link earlier, I guess.
Get it.
Eastbound and down, loaded up and trucking.
It turns out that Tog is just reviewing an old recording of Mr. Lizard. They're not there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's not called out from under his rock then. I had an interesting chat with Tog yesterday on my channel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not happy with how it ended. I think I could have handled it better, to be fair. We were talking about whether God is love or not.
Mm.
Whether God is love, is that what you said?
Whether God is love. You know, some Christians will say God is love.
Right.
And I pointed out the contradiction.
Well, it's kind of hard to get into a real debate with Todd because he kind of tends to go off the rails. He goes, "Well, because you just don't understand, because you're just a stupid motherfucker. It's not my fault. You're a fucking idiot. You don't understand. I will never fucking tell the truth, and I'll never tell you now because I know everything. I won't tell you." So it's kind of like,
right.
Yeah. Guys all
He talks about how something bad is actually good, or how it could be, or what if it is, and all this weird taking both sides, no commitment to the actual thing that he's trying to say. It's kind of
yeah.
Yeah. First of all, that was an amazing impression. That was brilliant, and that's pretty much how it went.
That goes usually, yeah. He called me a stupid motherfucker a couple of times.
Yeah.
I laugh it off,
Yeah,
I was like, wait a minute, who's calling the kettle black there, Negro? And he stopped him a little bit. That made him think, Oh, DT's out there. Hey, we're yesterday in DT. Yesterday in the Brojos, were you guys trying to get on me because that video I made about that racial thing where they're liberal and this and that? That was hilarious. Because I went in there and they started saying some liberal stuff, and Harold goes, "You're in trouble now, V." And I was like, "Is the video I made?" And they kept going off about like racism. I think they're trying to trigger me, but I just kind of play it off. So I threw a bunch of racist shit in Brojo's chappy chat to see if it triggers him.
Oh yeah, I had a similar thing yesterday. I don't know if you can see my title thing, Lover of the Blacks. I was on the stream. Is that racist? I'm not sure. But I was on the stream, and you know where they read the comments out in the side chat? That's where I got the idea from. But every comment it read out, it would use the N-word. Which devolved into people in the side chat calling me racist. So I had to put that Lover of the Blacks.
I mean, I'm not. I like racism is like hate. You know, that's a hard word.
Yeah.
You know, but if you look at it and like the what's his name, Don Rickles. Hell, I'm racist as a mofo. You know, I enjoy it. If that's what racist is being, if that's what it is, then call me racist. I can't stop. You know, Ninja took my bike. I'm sorry. So he goes.
Hey guys, I will see you guys later.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I'll see.
Bye.
I missed that. How'd we get on racism? I had a distraction.
Oh, that was me. Yeah, that's all DT on the side. And that's the reason they tried to jump on me yesterday. Brojo's hang about liberal, being a liberal or something like that. I put out a video yesterday morning. It was like the video I think I was watching was angry black in the 50s or 60s, I think it is. And what they were talking about was kind of interesting what they were saying. So I clipped a bunch of little pieces out of it and I put a beat behind it. And I think that's what got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was not my usual, like, you know, beat stuff, but yeah. Oh, he said no, PJ. Oh, okay. I was wondering what they were getting on about there. Not sure what Brojo's doing. I probably just stopped. Oh, okay. Because Heretic was like, "Oh, they're gonna get you, PJ. They're gonna get you, PJ," and I thought it was because that video I put out.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday. I didn't see it as racist.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Interesting little speech. So I kind of broke it up. Put it in there.
We did an album years ago, a cassette tape. It was so I made it. It was like a compilation of various other tracks from other tapes we had done. But in between each of the songs, I put like some of the most racist sound bites from Blazing Saddles in there.
Oh, nice.
You can kind of imagine it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I like that part. I'll never say anything like words on there, but that part where the sheriff is coming, he keeps covering his mouth. The sheriff is. What do you say? The sheriff is. He says the sheriff is near. No, the sheriff is. But where I grew up, there was like in South Bay, San Diego, in the ghetto, man, it was like racism didn't really exist because, well, it was mainly black and brown sprinkled with a little bit of salt. But when you're kids, there wasn't really any racism. We all grew up together. So as you get older, you see all this racism unfold. It's like, whoa, this is weird. And the reason why the racism exists is because they never grew up with them together as kids. That's the only reason why, because it's the only thing I can figure out.
I'll never forget going to visit my grandma in Arkansas when I was like 12, and randomly as we're like driving down the street, she she's like talking about how the town's grown so much, and this, and oh, and we've got a lot more colored folks moving in around here these days. She says to me.
Yeah. And she'll always follow it with, but I'm not racist. There are an awful lot of blacks around here, but I'm not racist. Okay.
Was a racist, but she was like that, like actually grew up in it racist. Like she knew it too. Like her dad was in the Ku Klux Klan, right? So like she was like one generation removed from it, but she wasn't like malicious about it. She was just so old school. She just could not break her habits. You know, she still had the same mannerisms.
Yeah. It's same with, she also has a thing about Chinese people being terrible drivers. every time she says it, she says, yeah, they are bad drivers, but I'm not racist.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you kind of are.
Yeah. I mean, the reasons for it, you know, the reason for like stereotypes like that, because usually stereotypes because they're slightly true in a lot of ways.
Yeah, like I said, that's how you get stereotypes. Just kind of agreeing to it. Yeah.
They got double stereotypes. Like Mexicans, they call them like lazy Mexicans, but yet the other people say the hardest working people.
Yeah, calling them lazy while they're mowing the lawn.
Exactly. Those lazy son of bitches out there while I sip my iced tea. I bet you sleeping in this truck. Get back to work. Come on, Juanito.
Yeah, I do distinctly remember being when I was like 15. I did concrete construction for a couple weeks, and I got hired on by a family member, and that person pulled me off to the side one day because I was complaining about the job, and straight up told me, he was like, the Mexicans over there, they're getting paid about half of what you're doing, and they're working twice as hard.
Yep.
I was like, and I'm looking at him and going, you know, like his point was, you know, to me about having a better work ethic, but my point was like, why are you paying those guys like less than $10 an hour? You know, like whatever it was. Like, oh man, that's crazy.
Oh, I've been in situations like that before, and I heard like things like a lot of times, like, well, they're gonna send all that damn money back to Mexico anyway, so I'm not gonna let that escape our, you know, our secure zone here. The Filipinos do that more than anybody. Like my brother married like 7 Filipino girls because he's that guy, you know, he can't really get a real woman, so he's got to go buy one. And yeah, they send like fucking refrigerator boxes full of shit back to the Philippines with money, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, people in glass houses, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hello, pop culture curator. Good morning. Yeah, one thing I quickly learned though, like my son's mom is Mexican. She comes from a Mexican family, you know, first generation or whatever. So, and they are extremely racist. Like traditionally Mexicans are really racist against black people and other Latinos and stuff. Like, and I never realized that before. So once I like the extent of it, I was just like shocked.
Mexicans are the most racist people I've met, man. My mom, she's from Guadalajara. Now she's Spaniard, Navajo, but she, you know, raised Mexico. Oh man, I tell you, they have so many different names in Spanish for blacks and Chinese and stuff like that. They have their own names for them. You know, like blacks are chongos, Chinese Mexicans are chingos. It kind of goes with it, you know, like chongos, chingos, gringos are the white Mexicans. And oh man, I cannot tell you how many times in the car my mom would just let that word out every other, you know, every other second. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of tricky though, because I've heard that before. Like black people and Mexicans are the most racist people, but just to say that sentence kind of makes you racist as well.
Well, like black people are racist to the point of hatred. Like black people are hate racist, so they're actually real racist because they hate white people. Not all of them, but where I grew up, I knew Jews that would go out and look for white people to beat up, and they still do. They'll go jump white people just because they're white. Now that's racism. So if racism exists on one side more than the other, I say right now in today's age, it's made a flip from the KKK attacking them because they're black only, to the fact that if they're attacking only somebody because of a color, then the blacks will be the racist ones in this picture today, in today's age of looking at in America. Because there's no bands of white people going around beating up black people because they're black. Well, there might be in the South maybe, but you don't really hear about it. But you hear about like Chicago, LA, Detroit, just because he's white. And yeah, that's racism right there. So I say black people are racist today. And if they deny it, I don't know. Maybe I'll put them in chains and make them work in my fields. And they'll understand. I have to beat them into it. Give me a whip. I'll beat the shit into them. Your name is Toby. It's Kunta Kinte. It's Toby. Kunta Kinte.
Beat the racism into them.
What we're saying is, like, and I know you're talking like BLM and stuff like that, but like really people focus on like, George Floyd and everything that happened, right? But like leading up to that, people like tend to forget, like during Obama's administration, we had a lynching, like in Texas, I think. So there, I mean, it was still going on, right? It's just, it's not as widely covered. It's like, so that's like BLM, made a point to like broadcast their shit. So, I mean, at least it's not covert, but yeah, I mean, it's just like during the civil rights era though, I mean, even then they had to like curtail violence,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I think I made that video too, because what they were talking about those times is just exactly what's happening now. There's no difference. They're saying the same thing. I posted this one thing on Brojas about it's a KKK Imperial Grand Dragon being interviewed by somebody in 1982. And they said exactly everything everybody is saying now. He said, now we have no problem with the blacks. We want equal rights too. We just want them to keep it. It's the same thing that's happening now. There's no difference in what they're talking about. It's silly. And but everybody's equally to blame on both sides. And that's just for following the narrative that the media and everybody puts out there for them to follow. It's like they're totally brainwashing everybody. This news and everything. You got the far left, the far right. It's fucking ridiculous how like the stupidity grabs hold of people. Now you have all these people going down there and everybody's like questioning every single brown person. Hey, MS-13. I heard Donald Trump say MS-13. I bet there's videos out there. Everything you need to know about MS-13. If they're brown, look for this. Fucking ridiculous. And people are scared. To me, it's like I would love to incite a race war just for the fun of it. Just so I could sit back and eat some popcorn and say, this is fucking hilarious. If it's going to stay where it's at now, it's boring. Either give it up or go full on and get your fucking swords and guns and go out there in the street. Let's see a fucking big ass battle. That's what I want to see. I'm tired of this. Like, oh, he said it then, and then I wanted it in the cracker and then the Negro. Oh man.
Yeah, let's find a solution to it one way or the other.
Exactly. Like when I would talk to my family, right? They're natives, and I'm native. I'm native German, and they get pissed off at me because I would tell them, I say it's not my. You guys complain about this shit in your fucking trailers and get your fucking money. I say you guys are still natives, warriors. Why don't you guys get get some horses and some fucking spears and guns and go down the fucking go shoot some shit up? Come on, stop complaining. It's boring. And then I'll talk to my white friends. I'm part white. I say, you know what the problem is? We never got rid of them all. That's our thing. We never fucking follow through. We don't get rid of all the natives. We don't send all the blacks back to Africa. We're simps. We gotta stop this shit. Let's commit to this crap. I'm racist on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, half a genocide is no genocide at all. What you said. Why about that?
I'm the kind of guy that that if I do my work, I want to make sure that it's done right. And if I'm going to eliminate a whole damn country of its species, just so I could put in mind, I will do it first. I'll make sure it's clean before I get it. It's all cleared out. Yeah, we found one in the bag. We got him. All right, let's move in. It's like roaches, man. If you see one, you got to get rid of it. You don't let it go. But that goes on both sides too. I said to the natives, "It's not my fault. You guys lost. You know, you guys weren't prepared. You guys walking around here smoking pot and tobacco all day, and now they're smoking pot and tobacco all day, and you got nothing." It's like, hey, man, that's the way it goes, you know.
Yeah, we made them alcoholics. They made us potheads, right? Yeah.
But I've been called a sellout many times. Like where I come from, I can't even talk to my family. Fucking hates me because the religious thing, and they think I'm crazy because I talk shit about them, but it's true. And if they see their own faults, you know what I mean? They'll stay in that fucking ghetto and they'll hate the white man and they'll hate Trump and they'll hate everything and they want free shit. That's where I come from, welfare state.
Yeah.
So I'm a sellout because I got, government jobs and I pay my taxes and I bought property. Oh man, oh shit. Oh, this is like that.
Yeah. How do you get a job?
Oh, you think so smart? Oh, I don't know. I'm only a problem solver for fucking military contractor. I guess it might be a little smart, maybe. No, but that's how it was like in those days. The racism is so bad. They'll try to keep people down. Like, there's a movie called Friday, but one of the things there, Mexicans always down people if they act smarter than the other because it's jealousy. It's like, oh, okay, smart guy. So they want to keep everybody dumb.
Yeah.
And back to racism, being part German, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's in my blood or something, but damn, man, it's you gotta get shit done right.
Yeah, that is the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be the.
They're very efficient at everything, even genocide.
Exactly. You're going to make something, to make it right. It's going to be done right. Yeah. You're not going to half-ass it. That's why I've always been on my crap, mechanics, computers, or anything I do.
Well, at the end of the day, Hitler blew his brains out too, though. So
I don't know. He might be in Argentina. Fucking, I don't know. It's weird. I'm thinking like in wartime, these type of people, and then you have all the stuff down there in South America. I would imagine, because when the Russians said they got Hitler and they had his skull, the actual one that they said they got him, it turned out to be it's not him. It's actually a female skull that they had that there, and it was burnt up. And so you have companies like Volkswagen, Fanta, that was created by Hitler's regime, that all of a sudden their factories are ending up in South America, and a slew of freaking Germans down there, and all kinds of rumors that were floating around. Even like my mom's from Mexico, Guadalajara, and all that, and she was saying, "Oh yeah, there's been rumors about them down there for forever."
Well,
I don't know. It's weird.
I think they did. I've heard they did locate like one of the SS officers, I think, I don't know if he was the high-ranking guy, and they ended up bringing him in and trying him. Like that wasn't too long ago.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Huh?
Yeah,
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, but I mean, I've heard other like conspiracy theories around that, but I don't know if there's like a lot of evidence for it, right? I mean, it's just like hypothesis.
Well, I guess it's kind of like, in a weird way, they're known that they were there, and they're known to go back forth to there, because I mean, yeah, it's strange. There's just so many German Mexicans. Okay, like the weird thing about Mexicans are they have a lot of German tradition. If you listen to their music, boom, 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 boom. That one song, roll out the barrel, is the same as it's because the Vatican started in Germany and they moved it down to Rome, and then Spaniards are basically almost Germanics. A lot of them are, because they all went down there with the Vatican and all that crap. So there's a lot of German type traditions in Mexico, more than I think any other race there is. And they kind of stick together in that way. Spaniards, Germans in South America, there's a lot of them down there. So I don't know.
But I think that would happen naturally, like after the war.
Mhm.
Obviously, all the best people who were like in the military and that would go to other countries.
Oh, yeah.
So not necessarily Hitler, but like all the smart people, all the officers and that, just so they don't get tried for like war crimes.
Oh, I'll give you a good example. When I was going, when I got the job for the military, they wanted me to do special training, so I had to go take these networking courses. And my instructor there was Mr. Osama Georges, and Mr. Osama Georges was a sharpshooter on Saddam Hussein's military sharpshooting team, and he's seen people get shot in the head for not winning competitions in there. He's seen Saddam go in and shoot people in the head at parties. He was that kind of guy. And if you don't believe me, AM radio, he was interviewed on AM radio. Osama Georges, look him up. He escaped there by taking a laptop because he had all kinds of special information. They killed his father and family if he didn't come back, and he had to leave because they knew he would die too. It was all kinds of crazy shit, man. You gotta check it out. It's the guy, Osama Georges. But he's the one that left that and came here, and whatever he handed over in that laptop, he didn't say, but he talked about it quite a bit. I heard a couple interviews on the AM radio with him. Interesting shit he had to go through. He actually got phone calls saying, if you don't come back, we got your father right here. You're going to hear him, that kind of crazy shit. So it's crazy, man. The war is crazy.
So basically this guy got like amnesty for bringing intel?
Well, he's an instructor at, I was sent to, it was underneath the Xerox building. What college was this? Like a community college thing. He was an instructor there. Yeah. And if you ever get a chance, Osama Georges on AM radio interviews, if you can find it, I don't know. I heard him on the radio, but I imagine something like that got to be out there somewhere. It's really interesting shit. If not, it should be. The shit this guy to go through. He showed off this gold pen he had gotten from Saddam for being on the sharpshooting team. Like a solid gold pen engraved on there with Saddam's signature. Pretty cool. Yeah. But he told me one thing that really struck me. He got me the job for the military because when I was in there, he's like, "You guys know how to partition and format." And I was like, "Yeah, I've done that before." Dual boot. He rolled his eyes a little bit. Okay, everybody go to lunch. Cole, you're gonna stay here. You're gonna prove yourself. So when everybody came back, I had a dual boot. I had freaking Windows 98 and XP. That was back in the day. And I also had Linux in there. So I had, a boot system from the get-go. And then ever since then, I was helping him as an assistant in the class, helping the kids, I call them the kids, breaking apart laptops and doing shit like that. Because I was doing that since I was 15, 16 years old. I found a box of computer parts in the dumpster. And this was back when Windows 3.1 was out. And I've got a book about 3 inches fucking thick on how to build and repair PCs, and it told every fucking inch of everything there, and that's how I got into the computer world. Like getting junk parts and making something out of it. That was fun for me back then. And I remember it was a Cyrix, it was an X86. I don't know if it was a 486 or it was a Cyrix chip, Texas Instruments, and it was a fucking,
Oh, I had one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like games consoles.
Right.
It was a computer, the one we had anyway.
Yeah, back in the day, that thing could run like I was playing Command and Conquer on DOS, running almost like yeah. So it was pretty badass running off all that stuff back then. That's how I got into it. Just kept building and building on there. And I was lucky to work jobs I could use that.
Yeah, I've tried fixing computers and that, but given that I have no technical knowledge, I just open a computer up, think this can't be too difficult. I can work this out.
Compared to back in the days, it is so fucking easy now, dude. You just plug it all in like a jigsaw puzzle, plug it in. Back in the day, you had motherboards like Ambit and other motherboards where you would put any fucking chip would fit in there. You had to set your jumpers for your voltages and your request ports for your freaking old ISA slot cards. You know, your video card wouldn't work unless you told BIOS where that port was and how to channel it into the other for video. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, a lot of like frustration, but once you figure it out, it's like, yeah, it's almost like a game. You know, it's like a real game to me. Like people play video games, like you get nowhere in video games, but in this, you get something.
Yeah.
You know, it's like another level. Yeah.
Yeah. More productive. Mm-hmm. You actually get something at the end. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then it became a competition because I was working in the military. They haven't got, they said this is instructors like in the when they're training us on the calls, you know, this and that. And I've ran a shop for many years. I dealt with suppliers, vendors, customers, this and that for many, many years already. So when in there, he said, we never had, in 6 years of my training, we never had a first perfect call. Whoever gets the first perfect call, I'll take them out to dinner. So my first day out there, I got a network call, one of the hardest calls. And I had no idea. Next day comes up, they come out there like clapping and shit. And they're like, Cole got the first perfect call. He gave me a fucking gift card for $75 for Red Lobster and my picture on the wall. And I was like, all right, but it's only because I had experience in it. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything special. It was just because I experienced working with people before. So I know what to say. And while they're, you know, my memory. So when they say, you know, the flow charts are just easily memorized. It's just simplicity to, you know, to its core.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. So I ended up actually after that, I ended up like what's cool is I was still on the calls for like basic networking calls, you know, mapping printers, this and that. And then they had this issue on the weekends. Okay, last 3 days, they can't open PDFs. Something's wrong. We got to figure this shit out. Everybody on it. Simple fucking thing because I ran into it before. That's the only reason how I found it out. I ran into it many times before, setting up computers for customers, sending them PDFs, receiving PDFs. All you had to do is go down the taskbar at the bottom corner, right click on there, and you see a PDF logo. Click on that PDF logo. When it opens up, right click on the top, go down to close, and then everything else will open up fine. Yeah. Only because I had done it before, and that got my picture on the wall and put me on the problem solving team. But only because I had done with it before. That's it. There's no magic to it. But everybody thought it was magic. I was like, whatever. I'll take that accolade. But it came a competition by when you're in there, you get certified in just about everything, Microsoft, anything at all. So I was not teamed up, but I was in training with these two Asian guys. We call them the Duck Poo Brothers. Because they would come back, they would bring the soup with them. It smelled like shit. You know, so what the fuck you guys eating? And it's got duck, as it called duck shit soup. It's called Duck Poo Brothers. But anyway, it became a competition of we were wallpapering our cubicles with certificates. So I'm certified in everything from fucking BlackBerry to Cisco, Netgear, fucking but that was back in 04, 05. But it's all basically the same.
Yeah.
But we had our cubicles actually wallpapered up with fucking certificates. And we're like, I was kind of jealous too because we're doing this shit all day. All right, next one. Like fucking Asians. My fucking buddy down there, Brad, the white boy, he's down there. They're sharing fucking they're sharing pictures of beheaded fucking soldiers in Iraq because it was all 405. You know, a lot of our work was, you know, helping soldiers down there with the problems with their laptops and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Chinese are like the Germans, you know, in their work ethic and that.
I think Japanese are more disciplined. Yeah. These guys, I think they're, I don't know, but I got mixed up with them because they're in the turbos, and I just got myself SRT Ford Neon Turbo, and I souped it up a little bit, the Stage 3 Turbo, and one had a Eclipse 4-wheel drive turbo, twin turbo. And the other one had a WRX Subaru Turbo, twin turbo. So when they saw that's how we became friends too. Oh, turbos are all out there, you know, doing stupid shit. Fun times, yeah.
I think a lot of that comes down to like the schooling, you know, in Japan and that.
Yeah.
When they go to, it's like 15 hours a day or something.
Right.
You know, yeah, they get it beaten into them, which I don't know if it's a good thing. But
You can see in their youth when they have them, like especially like North Korea, you know, they have those like 4-year-old girls playing guitar like fucking and nobody else.
Yeah.
Like wow.
I'm actually, for once, interested in US politics. Just in the side chat. Says I voted for a Christian theologian, not Biden. Who's the Christian theologian?
Who?
Dr. Modici. Cassius myself. Yeah, I voted for a Christian theologian.
Oh.
Is there a Christian theologian running for office? That would be interesting.
I voted for a Christian.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this upcoming election, so I don't know. Yeah.
Because it's shit on both sides. I mean, it's shittier on the. I personally, I just think it's shittier on the left side right now because what's going on.
Yeah, I wish we'd pick a third party candidate, but I mean, it's wishful thinking at this point. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Or they get rid of these two fucking jokers. They get some, you know, some other choices or something in there. Because everybody wants to see this happen. So, of course, they're going to want to get the two rivals together. Whoever wants to see fucking King Kong and Godzilla fucking fight. So, why would they, you know, put anybody else in there? It's like human nature. They want to see it. They don't want what's better for them. They want a show. They want to be entertained. You know, that's why they had arenas back in the day.
Yeah.
People are getting too smart. They start figuring things out, but they're not that smart. They're only halfway there, so they get caught up in that loop of, you know, of protect these borders to the T of I'm gonna drive my pickup truck down there with, you know, and take my gun. And you got the other side where I'm gonna make my baby into gay because that's the way they want it. Sick. Both sides are sick.
Yeah, definitely. Our political structure, our power structure is broken. Yeah.
Definitely. That's in a weird way. That's America. It's always been fanaticism. It's always been that, you know, John Wayne mentality. It's the, well, it don't matter what you do as long as you do it. But it's, I don't know. It's weird. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I never heard people around like that majority of people be so idiotic.
What were you saying?
No, when I was growing up, you know, Gen Xer, you know, they put all the opportunities in front of you. That's what I focused on. And during those times, I thought everybody was just lazy. I didn't know they were actually dumb. Or, you know what I mean? Hard to put it. Like really no goals oriented. I mean, not for everybody, but where I grew up, the majority, because I grew up in the, you know, in the shit. So they like to keep people in the shit. So you hardly see anybody get out of there. And if they do, they're usually like, you know, like everybody I know that kind of got out, which is only like 2 people, is they went through everything, you know, the whole drug thing, the rehab, and they're still fighting and struggling to maintain what they're trying to do. It's like driven in so hard into them. I can't talk to my buddy Bethel from in the hood because if I talk any political thing like that, he gets totally fucking riled out. He's 100% welfare, you know, that's where he grew up. And that's the way it was. It's, yeah. Gimme.
Well, yeah, as long as the system is totally broke, you can either vote for one dick or the other, and the third party is just a wasted vote. So
yep. Yeah.
It's just the least worst of 2 bad options. It seems.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that these presidents, these candidates can make all the promises they want, but once they get in there, it's what it is. So the people are just seeing a puppet show.
Yeah.
Because, they might say this or do that, but in reality, they're not going to get anywhere without the permissions of their masters.
Yeah.
They could push for whatever they want, but it'll be blocked if they don't want it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like the president that and he's got a limit. Like his amount of power is limited, and his amount of time in office is limited. We've got like these lifetime appointments, like Congress, the Supreme Court, right? Like those guys, they need to be put in check because they're the ones actually wielding more of the actual power and making decisions about how our society is functioning.
Yeah. They gotta stop looking at the as a president as somebody who's doing the job solely themselves as their own person and see it as part of a team. And that's what problem America has. Nobody wants to be part of a team. They want to be the leader. They want to be the the top dog. Everybody wants to be the head honcho. Nobody wants to I've seen it everywhere I worked, especially the computer and art and the graphic. When I was in graphic arts, that's like the worst. That's like you can figure you can see it there because in graphic art world, everybody they call themselves artists, but I don't ever call myself an artist. Because those people, man, it's just like they hide their secrets from each other, and they're I could do this and that, but I won't show you how. It's like a little competition thing, and it's the way America is. It's always been competition. It's always like keep my secret for myself. I'm not going to share with you, just for my little group, and haha on you kind of deal.
Yeah.
But I guess what do you get with all the different tribes we have here? There's so many different type of people here. They're going to have to pull together in different places and things. Because we're still barely in the middle of the melting stage, I think. It'll be generational. It'll probably be 3-4 generations before all this crap kind of blows over and they laugh about it. If we make it that long. Yeah, definitely a troop of apes. Monkeys more like it. Like a lot of bonobos.
Yeah, I've heard of a troop of monkeys. I'm not sure about a troop of it's probably all right.
Apes are too deep, too kind. Chimpanzees now, they'll tear you apart.
Yeah. And then sling shit at you.
Yeah. Keep your eyes out.
Well, but the thing is, though, a chimp, like, really, like, if you piss one of them off, he'll more likely just, like, throw his shit at you, But an ape can actually, like, tear your arms off, Like,
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. It's weird because I've seen a lot of documentaries and stuff like that on primates. And when it comes to gorillas, they're way more docile and more calm and collective about what they do. Chimpanzees, man, they go on like, they'll beat the shit out of another one and they all gang up on them, tear them to pieces. And I think it's a female chimpanzees will actually have to leave the group to have the child because they have it documented where they have the child within the group. They give birth within it. The dominant chimp will go up, and if he smells it, and if it does not smell like him, he will tear it apart and eat it and share it. So
That's why
comes from. So she naturally goes off. It has and it comes back several months later.
Yeah,
with it.
You can stick up with itself.
Yeah. I think on the other hand, where gorillas is what they have theirs, they just have it and they're there and they all kind of, care for it in a weird way. Yeah. But there are brutalities on both sides, but the majority of the brutality will be on the chimps other than the apes, looking at what I've seen or read so far. Like, you ever read Chimpanzee Politics? Many years ago. It's interesting because it associates everything we do in human society, chimpanzees do now, to the T, even in political structures and business structures and gifts and trades with females and trades with food. People do the exact same thing in business and in our lifestyles as they do. That book correlates it so fucking well. And I think that's the first time they use the term alpha male is in that book, referring to the dominant male monkey. Ape, yeah. Interesting. Wish I could remember more of it.
Alpha was originally established in studying like canine wolves and stuff.
Yeah, I heard that too. And I was interested in looking it up, and I read that book years ago. And then I looked up, where the term alpha male first came from. That book popped up, and also the wolf thing too. It's hard to tell. That book was the older one too. I want to say it's like it had to be like 50s, 60s. I'm not sure. Maybe 70s.
So we can blame that book for Jill calling everyone a beta. Is that what
Yeah. I know that alpha beta thing, all that's still like animal stuff. I don't like to consider myself anything, but if I come close to anything, it'd probably be like a delta. I don't give a fuck about either or,
I'd be a zebra.
What?
I'd be a zebra. I was like,
like a delta, as they go, like how they figure it, alpha male is the one who's the dominant, that has the power, that has the leader of the group. But a delta doesn't give a crap because he knows that what the alpha has is just still primitive, not using it for anything other than a harem and food, hoarding.
Wind gust through here, just wild. I don't know if you can hear that. They're like blowing stuff inside my shack.
Your microphone's popping out. It was like almost like not static, but like sound coming from.
Yeah, it might be the wind freaking blowing in here. That's what I was saying.
Oh.
These wind gusts are crazy. They just keep blowing straight into my shack, too.
We had tornado warnings yesterday. It got kind of wild up north a little bit. Tore a building up and a couple trees down.
oh yeah, sorry, that's just tobacco. It's normal tobacco.
Yeah, I think we're both smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, I'm tobacco in it too. I can't afford the green right now.
Well, I can't speak for Wild, but I'm at work, so I can't roll up anything else right now. I wouldn't want to anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Can you smoke normal tobacco though? At work? Oh.
What's that?
Can you smoke normal tobacco? Are you allowed to smoke at work? Where you work?
Technically, it's no, we're not supposed to, but that's also like the rules are kind of loose around here, right? Because I work overnight with a bunch of truck drivers, so they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's like it's about the client's preference, more than our company's policy. So we just
Right on.
Yeah, I call this work. Yeah, I mean, I'm stuck here, I got to, get up and open the gate for these lazy fuckers. No, I'm joking. It's a pretty chill job, so yeah.
Right on. Cool.
I did get a response from the sheriff's department over here. I applied like a month ago for the county the deputy sheriff trainee position out here, and they actually contacted me back. They want me to come in for the test. I'm going in for the test in a couple weeks.
Cool.
So I don't know if I'll, I've done this before, so it doesn't mean I'm actually going to follow through with it, but hey, I might as well,
Yeah.
Pass it.
That's good. Do you get your own sheriff's badge on the first day, or do you have to work towards that?
I won't be able to do that. I have a problem with authority.
Yeah.
I got fired for the military job for calling a captain a fucking the R word.
That's hilarious. That's how, I mean, I can't see. I mean, like, did he already have a problem with you? Like, I would think that a ranking officer would be able to just like shake some shit like that off. He actually had you.
Oh, what happened was I was working weekend mandatory overtime. You have to do that twice a month. And so I was working overtime, and on overtime sucks because on weekends I'm a networking guy and you get password resets all day long. I hate password. Thank you for calling NMCI. So and so. How can I assist you today? And it was I got a call. Yeah, I need my password reset. Now, everything I talk about was the military. I had rescuing clearances, so something I can't say, but a lot of things I can. So I get a call, and captain, and he's like, "I got a password reset." I was like, "All right, can I get your verifications?" Does not have it. Oh, okay. Is there somebody that can verify for you? No. Well, sorry, sir, there's nothing I can do for you because it's the way it is. That's how it goes. In training, they don't care if Jesus freaking Christ calls on a personal line. If he does not have his fucking codes to get through, he cannot get through. Anyway, he gets all huffy puffy on the phone and starts cussing me out. Yeah, fucking NMCI, motherfucker, blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Have a nice day. I get a call from my supervisor. Yeah, I got a call that you're very rude on a call and you this and this and so. I said, I know who it is. So I was like, okay, well, let's listen to the call. So I had an appointment. My supervisor and this captain, right? Again, man, we're in this little room, we're talking, and we listen to the call. My supervisor says, there's nothing wrong with him whatsoever on this call. He was professional. He did what he had to do. And the cat started going off and off. And then he starts like talking shit about me. You hire these goddamn. He called me. I can't, he didn't say beaner, but he said some weird shit. I'm native. I don't like to be called that. And anyway, and then after listening to everything they were talking about, I was like, so let me get this right. I'm sitting here 2 stories down from here at my desk. And then I said this. I'd say just like this. And your fat ass is 2 floors up. You can't walk into a fucking elevator and come down to my fucking desk or anybody's fucking desk on this floor because you're too fucking retarded and too prideful. Fuck you. And that got me fired. And he tried to get in my chest too. This motherfucker was like some, older dude, kind of wore out, had his weight on him. And he tried to nudge me a little bit. So yeah, I nudged him right back. I didn't give a shit. So that got me they actually sent me to a psychiatrist because I got a confrontation with a supervisor several weeks before at the food truck because we're out there and I was with my buddy and we're getting some grub and this guy, Zach, redhead son of a bitch, I don't know why they have no souls, gingers, I guess, started talking. He was always talking shit to me. Did not like me at all because he didn't like the fact that I had my name on the wall and this and that. Everybody's like, hey, Cole, blah, blah, blah. Just give me fucking peanuts and fucking sodas and shit. It's not my fucking fault. So he was like, one of those guys. And he was one of the supervisors there and talking a lot of shit. We got into a little scuffle. And I was just being funny. I was just being fucking funny because he tried to fucking lunge at me. So I grab him, pull him down on the ground, twist his arm behind him, right? And I said, my buddy, I was, hey, Brad, give me your lighter. I'm going to set this motherfucker on fire because his hair. It's a joke. Nope, they took that serious. Sent me to a fucking psychiatrist.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a dangerous situation to try and be funny
on a semi-military base, too. I do miss all the benefits of it, though. You had all the same vacation, all the same days off, all the you get to go. You know, had the cat card. I get to go on base and shop for all my shit tax free, just like anybody. You know, yeah, lost all that stuff. Oh well, fuck it. Yeah. I'm more important than that. I also lost fucking about almost 100,000 a year. Close to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was a good couple of years, yeah. I was able to get my down on my condo and all that. I get started on property run, so I was able to stay in the property game and own property and sell property since then. So that helped me out a little bit.
Yeah, I just went all like the last time I got fired. Yeah, I was looking on the building site, and I just, I just lost it. Went up and punched the site agent. the guy on the site, yeah, just punched him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I can't take anymore.
If you're gonna get fired, you might as well make it with it. You know?
Right? Yeah. I quit a job and they tried to have me arrested once.
Military.
Funny. Yeah. I was a graphic artist at one place for before I got the military job. Straight out of high school, I started working there. I was like 15, 16 years old, graduated at 16. So I was there like 10, almost 13 years, renting the place. The graphics guy, right? The main guy. So I had all my computer shit. I brought my own equipment there and I had my own programs there. And the owner didn't want to up the shit, so I did this, for fun. So I would get the newest version of Corel Draw, and at that time it was Corel Draw 11. It cost me fucking $650. Okay. So when the shop kind of went to shit, the owners got divorced because they were cheating on each other. They gave it to their child, and then nobody gets along with that bitch, especially me. So I quit. I got all my shit together and left. And reported me stealing fucking a computer and software. And so I went back to talk to them about it, and I had a recorder with me. I know these fuckers, So I had a little recorder with my little CD case. I go in there, and they go, "Oh, that's a nice watch." That I say, "Yeah, it's a Seiko Kinetic, pretty nice." Oh, fucking $800 fucking watch. And they're like, "Where'd you get that from? Stealing from us?" And I was like, "No, I bought it for myself for fucking quitting this goddamn job after fucking 10 years. Piece of shit, So I came down here to talk to them about the software thing. They start going off crazy off the bat. What's in that case? I bet he has a gun in there. Blah, blah, blah. Call the cops. Call the cops. So I stand outside, wait for the cops. But all kinds of shit transpired in there. All kinds of crap. Them threatening this and that. Even my family and that taking take my house. It's all fucking retards. And so the cops show up, and they fucking cuff me, put me in the car. I'm calm. They're looking in the case. And I think open the case. They told you there's a gun in there, but look what's in there. I take a look what's in there. They open it up. It's a fucking little recorder. I say, is it still playing? Good. Why don't you play that back for a minute? They come back, uncuff me, and ask me if I want to press charges on them.
Yeah.
You gotta cover your ass, man. Yeah. Always cover your ass. Like another job I worked in, it got slow, and they like to put people on leave. Like, oh, get out of here. You don't want to work anywhere. I was like, well, I need unemployment. Well, you can't get unemployment this time. So so they made an agreement with me because I was one of the good employees there that they'll go ahead and give me the unemployment on the off season. You know what I mean? So I would go apply for unemployment. I get unemployment for 3 months. I go back and I work for, the other 8. And then so I had them write it out on paper. So let's get a little confrontational there, and I leave, and my unemployment stops after like the first month. So I question it, and I have to go to like after questioning all this and that, I have to go to like this little court thingy where they call you in, and they have a judge and a couple people, and then they have the owner and the owner bring the daughter with them, and me to dispute this thing. And the first thing I did was, I don't know what the silliness of is, because they agreed that they're going to pay me unemployment, and they're like, well, the judge was like, that seems really silly. That's funny. I got it right here on paper. It's signed. Let me see that. Is this your signature? Yes. Is this your signature? Yes. You may leave. And then I heard her like yelling at him when I was walking out. And I got my unemployment was reinstated. Cover your ass. Always cover your ass. Like right now, I tend to talk too much. Like right now, I'm going through a little property dispute with my brother, but luckily I have everything on contract. And he fucking reneged on everything on it, so he has no ground, no standing ground anymore.
On the property you're at now?
Yeah, because the property I'm at now, I actually bought this property with my father-in-law years ago, but it was in their name. When he passed, I was kind of taking care of him a little bit when he passed. So when the property came out, the people here don't like me too much because I'm not white and it's Midwest. So they wanted me to tear down a building on here that I couldn't afford to tear down. They knew it. And they said, if you don't tear that building down, you know, you're going to lose the property. I was like, yeah, no shit. I better start knocking it down. Maybe I'll just burn it down. Anyway, my brother was like, hey, you know, I could give you the $4,000 and knock that building down, but I want a piece of the property. I said, well, if you want a piece of the property, there'll be stipulations because my family's a piece of shit. And I don't want any of them out here and this and this and that and that. How I'm, you know, all written down, I'll record him saying everything. And yeah, he pretty much fucking reneged on every little thing, even the part of the trade where there was a truck that was part of the deal that he came and took and sold behind my back. And then my wife almost got in trouble because somebody reported it stolen because it was in her name. It was a big fucking mess. So he has like no standing ground on here. And we're actually like butting heads about it. I wouldn't be surprised if he kills me over it. He's that kind of guy. So if I end up missing one day and you see this fucker on my property, he probably kill me.
Some Cain and Abel shit right there.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, my brother's a wicked little motherfucker. I try saving him, man. I can't save him though. You know, you can't save people. They go too far. Some people go so far you can't save their souls. I think. Yeah, that guy did some pretty dumb shit. So out of touch with his lies and manipulations. You don't even know who the fuck he is anymore.
Yeah, it's like it's like you said. Yeah, the person has to want to change, and some people just don't. And I don't think there's anything you can do about it. There's anything.
Can you say it a little clearer? I missed the last part.
Yeah, it's like the person has to want to change. You know what I mean? Some people just don't, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. At first, I thought he kind of wanted to when he came out. I was trying to get on to him about, like, he's a hardcore Christian. We started getting into like little debates and we're talking about philosophy and things like that. So I started talking to him a little bit. I said, okay, maybe I could talk to this guy, but no. It's all about just basically just power with this dude. You know, one of those control freaks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like my little brother. He went out and did a bunch of stupid shit when he as soon as he turned 18, and he was a sports star and all of that, so he just went off the rails. And I mean, he's an egotistical little fucker, but he was relatively normal when he left. But he's been in prison for a while now. It was like when he first went in, I was kind of able to reason with him. I was like trying to figure out how he could maybe get some time off for good behavior and stuff like that. And it's like anytime you talk to him, like the guy is just like, the longer he's in there, just the further into all the drama and bullshit he gets. And it's like we don't even speak the same language sometimes. It's like stuff he thought is so insane to me.
That's crazy. I could get my little brother. It was too late for him too. He was way further off than my big brother, but he ended up getting killed for what he was doing. Him and his buddy were robbing. He was in prison a couple of times. He raided the house. They threw my mother in the fucking street and stepped on her head. because my brother was holding all kinds of fucking weapons, Kevlar's vest, fucking drugs. They're making meth out of there. But anyway, the little fool got fucking shot in the head.
Wow.
Yeah, they're a guy by the same name of him too. They're all friends, right? They're like best friends, but they're out there doing meth, making meth, selling meth, robbing houses. They would go to Santee and they would rob people. They would break in their houses like gunpoint and steal their shit. Anyway, they both ended up in prison. And my little brother got out first, and the cops had confiscated everything. By the time he got back, they were living in my mother's trailer, and she sold it and got rid of it. So when the other guy got out of prison, he goes, "Where's all my shit?" And my little brother's like, "It's gone, gone when I got out." And then the guy didn't believe him and wanted his money and his shit, and pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the weird thing is, I went to school in 6th grade with this guy. His name's Frankie. And we went to Disneyland. I was in a foster home at the time, so the school supplied me to go, charity, to go to Disneyland. He was my partner in Disneyland. You got to partner up with kids, so you have a partner in Disneyland, so you meet up with the groups. He was a driver that drove the dude to shoot my little brother. Yeah, but he was on his knees. He was on his knees crying. It was like a movie scene. It was like begging me, crying. I didn't know, man. He had no idea. They're going there to kill him. He thought they're going to go get some meth and some money.
Yeah.
But the guy was intentionally going to do it from the get-go. But he had no idea. So, the whole court thing, he was let go because they're going to interrogate him to the T. So he actually had no idea what was going on. And I knew him. He lived 2 blocks from my job, 2 blocks from my buddy. So, yeah, it was like a really weird situation, but crazy. It's almost like everybody knows each other in weird little ways, small world.
Yeah. Well, it's been fun, guys. Cheers, Les. Cheers, BJ. I'm gonna go and get something to eat. So,
right on, man. Hoping I didn't talk your ear off. I'm just too chatty to swearing, I guess. Sorry.
No, it's been good.
Right on.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on. Good to see you, brother.
Cheers.
Yeah, I should probably wrap up soon too. It's almost quitting time out here. So
Right on. Yeah, get stuff going. Dogs need to go out. All right, man. Thanks, dude. Have fun.
yeah, good talking to you, bud.
Take care.
And it's 4:56 a.m. Friday morning. And today is going to be a good day. All right. Thanks everybody in the chat for coming.